amigos, soy Juan Francisco Gallo Estrada. Quiero mandar un saludo para mis amigos de Contra las Cuerdas. Échenle muchas ganas, un abrazo, muchas bendiciones.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Against the Ropes. This is episode 34. Is that correct?
Yep.
Episode 34. I'm Gio Garcia. I'm alongside Christian Mosqueda and Christian Rodriguez. And we have two special guests today, back to back. Back to back, two guests. Who do you have here today?
So we got Lily from Xicana
Boxing. Boxing. You guys know her, seen her here before. And we have
Sean from Beat the Count.
Thank you for having
podcast.
me.
And three.
I don't know if I count as a special guest, but I'll take it.
Everybody's a special guest.
Yeah. Oh, right? I got you.
Even us. Yeah, but we have Sean from Beat the Count podcast. We were on your podcast before.
Yes.
Right, so now you're up on our side of the hood.
Only when you guys came on, it was like an invasion. Now when I'm on, I'm just dwarfed by the 5 people who are here.
Yeah, and of course Lily, right? Haven't been here in a while. You started your podcast since, right?
It's a little awkward doing it by myself. I feel like I'm talking to myself.
Nah, to me that's awesome. Like,
Takes courage.
I don't think I could do it by myself. Like
You do feel pretty dumb when you're just sitting there talking to your computer on the microphone. Like,
Well, you said you're live, right?
sometimes.
Sometimes.
Sometimes I just do it because I stutter and someone's like cuss, so I gotta like edit it out sometimes. So I get too intense sometimes. So I do want to cut it out, like edit it like he does.
Yeah. Now yours is live, right? So you gotta.
What if like
normally-
First take,
what's
right?
the
Yeah, let's take
craziest
everything.
thing like that a boxer has done or said, like some crazy shit?
Nobody's ever said anything really that crazy to me.
They're aware that they're live, right?
Yeah, they're aware that they're live.
It's like on PR mode.
Yeah.
yeah.
Advertisement.
People on the live chat ask some crazy questions that I don't repeat though.
Oh yeah.
Every time. Yeah. Someone will come up. Like every time I have a woman on, someone asks if she's single. Every time. And there's always somebody who will say that he could beat the ass of whoever's on the show.
God,
Like,
of
he'll be like, I
course.
beat that fool's ass. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who it is.
Some fat guy in his basement.
Yeah, exactly. Whoever's saying that.
In his
Can I
mom's
say that? Am
basement.
I allowed to?
Yeah. You're
All right.
Of course.
You're going to bleep me later, right?
Highly encouraged.
Okay, I got you.
Did
That was the
anybody
first
ask
thing
that
I asked
question
you.
in the podcast when we were in?
What's that?
About, I could beat that guy's ass?
No.
All of them combined.
Yeah, Stax was on. He was saying that about you guys, I think, while we were on.
I remember.
I
Yeah.
did,
I'm
yeah.
just
he
messing
did.
around.
He'd be instigating, dude.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. We gotta start beef for this guy.
We do.
Somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, let's get it started. I think there was a big fight last weekend, right?
Yeah.
Kind of.
Kinda.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah.
May 4th from the. I always confuse. Is AT&T or T-Mobile?
T-Mobile.
right?
AT&T sounds so
yeah.
wrong.
It sounds so Texas.
The T-Mobile
From
Arena
Texas.
in Vegas. Saul Canelo Alvarez against Daniel Jacobs, right, for 3 of the belts at 160. Unanimous decision for Canelo Alvarez. Who wants to get started? Because I'm sure we all have a lot to say.
We'll give our guests the
Lily, ladies
out.
first.
Ladies
Me
first.
first?
Sean,
Ladies.
She's deferring to me.
who wants it?
I popcorn, Sean.
Okay. I don't have a lot to say about it, actually. I think it was the right decision. I probably had it something like 8 rounds to 4.
Yeah.
If you look at the judges' scorecards, my cards weren't unlike 2 of the judges' scorecards, where they had given Danny the first round, which I did think Jacobs took the first round, and then there was about 4 or 5 rounds that you give to Canelo right in a row, and 1 or 2 of them was really emphatic. I think it was like the 3rd round or something like
And
that.
the 8th was really good.
Yeah, so I think Danny kind of dug a little hole. Like I gave him the first
Yeah.
round, and then thought he lost about 5 in a row, and then they kind of went 1 up for the last half of the fight. But that's too little, too late at that point. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, even though Danny maybe wins 3 out of the last 6 rounds, he still comes up, 4 rounds to 8. So I think it was a good fight. It was entertaining, but there's not a lot of controversy from my perspective.
Yeah.
Well, I think the opposite. Well, not the opposite, but the opposite to the last thing you said. There's always going to be controversy
Some
when Canelo Alvarez fights.
What you mean is haters.
Yeah.
Or, you know,
I like
or-
to call it conspiracy theories.
and you know, I think it was an amazing fight. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, especially fighting somebody who fights on the back foot like Jacobs. And I think I was a little, I guess, disappointed in Jacobs because I feel like you already paid. I was at a point when I saw that he paid the money. And I don't think he ever intended on making weight.
Yeah,
However, I'm like, this means this motherfucker's going to unleash on Canelo. Like, he's going to try to bully him. He's going to try to impose his weight. Never happened.
Never
And
happened.
to me, it's like, why not? Like, what do you,
Yeah.
you paid all this money just cause? Like,
Yeah.
it to me, so that was a little disappointing to me, to say the least. However, I also like Canelo's defense. He looked ridiculous with his head movement.
Yeah.
It was so good. He had Jacobs looking silly at times. Now, I understand why Mexican fans especially aren't fans of that style. You know, they want Canelo to be coming forward. They don't think he did it. And quieren putazos, you know? But I'm getting real fucking tired of this narrative of, well, you know, he didn't look impressive. And if you see ESPN Español or Los Golpes, it's a lot of, they even interviewed fans that had Canelo gear after the fight and had them say, like, well, they didn't have them say, but they only showed the fans that were saying that Canelo lost, which to me is like, why are you doing that? But nevertheless, I'm tired of this narrative because how are you supposed to look impressive against world-class competition? You're not. I wish people understood that when there's fights that are like legit competitive and they're between top guys, it's not going to be lopsided. It's just like the Triple G fights. I think Triple G won the first, but it wasn't like Triple G dominated him. The second one, I think Canelo did win, but he didn't look dominant. So it's like they're obviously not going to look impressive as fuck against people that are also at their level. So I think I'm tired of that narrative, but also I can understand why people, you know, like I said, Mexicans, they don't like that style, but I did think Canelo won, and I also had it 8-4. And I also, another thing that I noticed from last week's fights and then this one, what's up with fighters going fucking southpaw and orthodox back and forth? I feel like that's not a good thing to do. Like, stick to whatever you're going to do and maybe have a plan B if it doesn't. But I feel like they're just, like, they're trying to confuse Canelo. Like, I feel like he was just trying to confuse Canelo and throw him off his game.
I don't think that works against elite
and
fighters.
And it doesn't work against Canelo because I feel like he's still a counterpuncher anyway. So however stance you have, he's still just waiting on you.
He's still better than you.
And he still has like a better, you know, his hand, that shot that Jacobs landed, that was like he rolled with it.
He rolled with it, yeah.
And that was the same punch that he landed on Triple G, and Triple G walked through it. And I love seeing that, like, he just like walked through it. And I can understand why people again say, oh, well, Jacobs in the later rounds, and that stays fresh with you. You know, you remember the last rounds. So I can see people are like, oh, well, Canelo, you know, he still got caught. This guy was so much bigger. You know, and a lot of people, again, people are like, well, Canelo did that too. He was like a weight bully. And yeah, I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Like he paid the fine. You know what I mean? Like, so there's a lot of people who go around and say he's cheating. He didn't cheat. I mean, it was a contractual thing in the sense that meaning in normal circumstances that would not have been a requirement because it's a unification bout. So it was a contractual thing that Canelo decided. So it was a contractual thing that Canelo decided to put in there. He paid the fine. It's like, it would be like saying Mayweather cheated when he made Maidana use
the gloves.
the gloves. He paid the fine. Maidana got paid like $1 million to wear those gloves.
1.5.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Right. So like at the end of the day, he didn't really cheat. There was a size difference. He didn't really use it all that much.
But that size difference, though. Did you guys? I noticed that shit right away. Like I'm like, damn, that's a
he was
big.
He was bigger, but he didn't.
I don't know how he makes 160. These guys always get mad at me, but he's a middleweight in my opinion. He's Anthony Sims size. Anthony told me how much he weighed on fight night, and he was lighter than Daniel Jacobs last weekend. So
but the thing is, I think it's not necessarily. I think that it's not exciting. That's what people get upset about. So it's not.
But that's Daniel Jacobs.
But
She got mad at. She wanted to fight
No.
me when I said he wasn't an elite boxer.
Because you said he wasn't a top middleweight.
He said he wasn't a top middleweight.
You said he wasn't a top middleweight. Not
He's
that he
a top
wasn't elite.
middleweight.
I said top.
You
What's
said
that, like
he's
top
not a
3,
top-
top 4,
no.
top 5. He's never been that.
Yes,
honestly.
he
has.
is.
According to who?
Me, bitch.
rankings. Like,
No, but
His
rankings.
best fight, he'd be Peter fucking
But
Quillen.
okay,
he has a better resume.
aside from his style, I feel that's why I don't think Canelo's gonna take on Andre anytime soon. I think it's gonna wait till next time because Mexican fans can't stand 2 fights back to back tactical Canelo. They would fucking riot.
Yeah.
But
if Canelo fought Andre next and looks, because people are like, oh, he didn't look impressive. Same thing. Who looks impressive against a fighter that's elusive?
But when people say
they give everyone
people wouldn't care if he looked impressive or didn't look impressive if it was a highly entertaining scrap, right? So if you had
Andre
two guys,
is less entertaining than Jacobs.
No, definitely. But what I'm saying is, if you had two guys who are having one of these epic scraps that we're used to seeing at like Dignity Health Sports Park, you know, like StubHub Center.
Oh yeah.
If he was having that
grounds.
at the end, people wouldn't complain. Yeah. It's more because it's all that he didn't look impressive, but also because it wasn't a war. It wasn't this fantastical experience.
I expected a war, especially because of the weight. Again, I'm like, ooh, this guy's gonna give Canelo so many problems for size. Never happened. I'm like, bruh.
Back to Sean's point, that's why I was also disappointed in Danny Jacobs. Like he was too tentative. He took too long to get something.
Too passive.
Yeah, too passive. Maybe through like second round to like the fifth, sixth. He just, I don't know if he didn't want to like show too much, but he gave those rounds pretty much.
That's Daniel Jacobs. When has he showed that much?
And remember in the press, he's like, well, I want to make Canelo look stupid. I want to embarrass Canelo. When did it look like he was trying to do that? At no point did it look like he was trying to make Canelo look stupid in front of his people.
He also had an excellent fight with Triple G, by the way, though.
Who?
Well, you said what's his biggest fight, and you said he beat Peter Quillen. He basically went up with Triple G.
I definitely agree with Sean.
Yeah.
Meaning
he clearly lost.
But he was competitive with Triple G.
I don't think he clearly lost.
I think he did.
I think he lost.
Was it a competitive fight? You can lose and be competitive.
I put that more on Triple G though than Daniel Jacobs.
How?
Because Triple G never went for the kill, even after the knockdown. He showed some respect for Jacobs.
He was going after him.
Yeah, but you respect people for a reason. You don't just show respect.
See, when you say watch the fight again. Come on,
that fight was probably Triple G's like closest fight up until then.
Yeah.
That was his.
Who had he fought before that? He knocked everybody out, dude.
Yeah. But that Jacobs fight, and it was because of the size, the weight that he took into that fight.
That he was able to absorb the punches that Triple
Who did
G
he fight before that?
Who, down Jacobs?
Triple G. You just said he hadn't had a fight like that.
He fought some contenders.
Who?
Obviously. What do you mean who?
Name them.
Name his whole resume right now. Point blank.
Yeah.
All of them.
He fought all the guys that Sergio Martinez already knocked out.
In more impressive fashion.
No, I see what you're saying. I'm just mentioning because you're talking about his resume. Triple G is at least as good as Canelo, is he not?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And he fought a competitive fight with Triple G. He didn't get blown away by a guy who was blowing everybody away. So he's a decent fighter. To say he's not like a top 10 or a top 5 guy.
Who, Jacobs?
Yeah.
No, he's never been a top middleweight.
Oh my
God. Well, hold on. Where's the bar set for middleweight?
I said top 3. Top 3, top 5. I don't even think he's been top 5
so
ever.
Obviously 1 and 2 is Triple G and Canelo. And so who are the other 4 middleweights that knock him out of the other?
Billy Joe Saunders.
4 middleweight.
I think
he's not even a middleweight anymore.
No
he
hasn't even fought at 160, has he?
That's because
he's not a middleweight
well,
anymore.
If he was,
who are the other middleweights?
If he was at 160, I'll put him above him. I'll put Bubba Andrade over him.
If Mayweather was at 160, you might put him up there too, but he's not. So who are the other 160s?
But I just proved my point.
How?
No, how? Yeah, I think Jacobs has a better resume than Boo Boo.
Okay, but you said so Andre, so that's 3. So who?
I don't think. Yeah, I agree.
I just named 4, but you're making an excuse trying to say that Billy Joe Saunders moved up.
He's not a middleweight. I'm not making an excuse. It's just a true statement. What do you mean?
If you
That's
want.
like he's facts.
Yeah, you just speak truth. It's
He hasn't
not an
fought at
excuse.
168.
Yeah, but he's left the division.
When?
When he left the title.
Just now.
I think other than Gio, we do believe. Other than Gio, we do believe.
Do you see why you have your own podcast, Lily?
Now I know.
I mean, I think
I'm just curious who they are. That's all.
I just
want to know who
them.
the top guys are.
Do you disagree with me that those 4 guys are better than Jacobs?
Triple G and Canelo. Andre is maybe. You know,
I
don't think it's definitive. Billy Joe Saunders, I do think is better, but he's also not a middleweight.
Point, right?
No, because we're still not even outside of the top 5. And Billy Joe Saunders is a middleweight.
What's your bar for top middleweight?
Well, I can't say that I have a bar. There are ranked middleweights. He's certainly ranked in the top 10. And I think if you look at the current layout of the middleweight division, sure, top 10 guys are generally pretty good. Then, but if you look at the current layout of the middleweight division, I can't see how you don't put him in the top 5 people, considering he fought decent fights, competitive fights against Canelo and against Triple G, and they are clearly 1 and 2.
I hate when people say that. Why do you get a participation medal for not?
No, it's not a
Because it was
participation.
competitive.
Vanes Martirosyan gets a
Because-
participation
yeah.
medal.
Yeah.
Okay,
When
that's-
it was
I said Vanes
competitive.
Martirosyan gets a participation medal. He fought competitive fights with those men.
But he clearly lost, right?
Yeah, he lost, but they were.
But
that
they
doesn't
were
make them not
competitive.
competitive. There's a difference.
They were just the
Why do you
better
act like-
guy.
there's a difference between losing 12 rounds to 0 and fighting a competitive fight. Is there not? Like, isn't there some
So you get
some
credit
ground there?
for fighting a competitive fight.
Of course.
Yes.
What do you mean?
Yes.
Of course.
I guess.
Because those are the guys
Welcome to the
that
new age.
because those are the
The
guys
new
that
age.
you would want to have fight some other top guys.
Tell that to Marcos Maidana.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
What
You fight
about
a
him?
competitive fight against Floyd Mayweather, and you're famous.
He fought a
That's all-
competitive
all you have
fight
to do
against
is just not
everyone.
get your ass
look
kicked.
Look
But
at
that-
Amir Khan.
that
He
fight
fought
was-
that competitive fight against Amir Khan.
That first fight
and
was
it
actually
boosted
close.
him again.
Yeah, that's what.
Maidana.
Those,
A lot of
those are
people
what-
say.
competitive.
A lot of people would say that was a draw. So that was probably
Sure.
more than
but
competitive.
well, a lot of people
And he
say,
stunned Mayweather too.
a
That was
lot of
probably
people
more
say
than
that Triple
competitive.
G was a draw. The Triple G
Against-
with Danny Jacobs.
I mean, they probably. Yeah, they gotta watch it again.
I thought it was
That mathematically,
Yeah.
mathematically, it can't even be a close fight.
You struggle with logical arguments. I could tell this about you.
You clearly haven't seen those shows where I'm like literally
All
about
right.
to throw my shoe at him.
Do you think Daniel Jacobs won 7 rounds against Triple G?
Do I think he won 7 rounds against Triple G? No.
Okay, thanks.
What? I never.
So mathematically,
Was there like a point there?
so mathematically, it's
They're
not a
supposed
close
to be.
fight, right?
Somewhere in there, there's.
If he wins 7 rounds, it's a draw because of the knockdown.
Well,
right?
I thought he only
clearly
won.
didn't win
I thought he
7
only won
rounds.
4 rounds against Canelo, but it was still a competitive fight.
I guess we
Yeah,
have
some-
different definitions.
Yeah, some of these
competitive.
rounds can be very close.
Yeah, like
and
they're-
so it's no.
I guess we have different definitions.
Well, like,
of
look.
it.
So I have the fight 116, 112. 2 judges had it 115, 113. That's okay. They saw 1 round different than I did. There were some close rounds in there,
Yeah.
right? So like,
So that makes Jacobs a top middleweight for competing.
Yes.
because he
I
could,
guess.
Yes.
I guess.
It
Yeah,
does.
it does make it on top.
You
'cause,
guys
I
watch
mean,
too much TV, man.
Canelo's just on a, no. Honestly, we can agree that Canelo's like on a different level. He is. He's
a
on
different level than who?
than the middleweights in the division. I mean, up there with Triple G. Triple
I was
G's
gonna
close.
say, like, yeah,
But,
I mean, Triple G now that he's 36 or 37 is, yeah, maybe by the time they fight again and he's 38 years old, they're on a different level. But they were clearly not on a different level before.
No. Like I do.
Yeah,
like no, I'm in consensus with Lily. I do believe
Yeah.
Triple G won the first fight. The second one, I would have to give it to Canelo.
Yeah,
It is.
Yeah.
They're still very close fights. Still
Yeah.
very close fights. But that's just my consensus.
Yeah, and I think if they fought again, he would win even more convincingly than he did last time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but that I think has something to do with the fact that Triple G is, you know, now on the downside. The age catches everybody. It catches everybody. He's unfortunately old for a boxer.
Yeah. But to the point of Jacobs, I do get why you feel like he's not. We
He's
we
never
disagree.
been. You guys watch too much fucking.
We disagree.
You guys spend too much time on the internet. I don't know,
like
what
we
the fuck-
no, we disagree. This fight, I do believe like Canelo was.
I think
dominant,
if
very
anything,
dominant.
this proves that he's not a top middleweight, Jacobs. But you guys will say otherwise because he survived.
I think if your definition is like the top 3 people, then yeah. I get because for a long period of time,
That's
those
what
3
I was
people.
arguing this whole past 20 minutes. but you
Those
guys
3
wouldn't listen.
people are for a very long time. Those 3 people were Billy Joe Saunders, Canelo Alvarez, and Triple G.
Yeah.
Right, but
So
that doesn't
according
mean you're
to-
not a top middleweight.
According
though.
to my definition, he's not a top middleweight, right?
Okay, sure.
All right, would you give me that at least?
Of course.
Let's just move on
yeah.
because I feel like
No,
we're
no.
never going to like.
Will you agree that according to the rules that I make up, this is true? Yeah, of course. Of course I do.
You guys don't listen. You just asked me what the bar was for me, and I gave it to you, but you still didn't want to listen. But now
it's
you
wrong.
because it's wrong. Well, Jacobs has never been a top middleweight. I think this fight proves
Oh,
it.
Lord.
I actually had it 9-3. I don't know. You had it what 8-4?
I had it 8-4.
You had it
but
what?
like I
8-4.
could see 9-3 also.
Yeah, I could see
just like I
9-3.
could see I could
8-4.
see the other direction because there were so many close rounds that if someone said they had one round going one way or one round going another, okay.
Yeah, you had it
Yeah.
what?
8-4, but yeah, I could see 9-3.
Yeah. Either way.
Mm-hmm.
Either way.
115, 113. I don't know how that happened, but it
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
wasn't
I can
that
understand
close. It
because-
wasn't that close.
Yeah.
But it's
some
only one
round-
round
yeah,
different
yeah.
than me and you.
You're right.
Right?
Yeah.
So like
Yeah, so
you have to there has to be some leniency
Yeah.
in you know.
Most
yeah,
definitely.
so back to people not being happy with the fight. Again, it's the style that Canelo fights.
It's definitely the style,
It's
yeah.
not people. And me and Chris, we've talked about this. It's we call it casual season. So a lot of these fans tune in only May and September. So they're expecting fireworks, of course. That's what they're used to. That's what they want to see from a Mexican fighter, a proud Mexican fighter. But you know, Canelo's not. You know.
Not just that. We saw that Canelo had been saying since the press conferences that he never really looked for the knockout, but that he was trying to show other things.
Yeah.
And I think that's why he struggled at the beginning, because before he would be like, oh, he's just a weight bully. But he's like, no, like, I'll try to outbox you too.
Yeah.
Just like with the Americano. Of course, that was just, it wasn't, I said it, I think, before in this podcast, it wasn't a matter of if he caught him, it was when he was going to catch him. But we all saw that he did start going to the body, and he's still, like, same with Lara. With Lara, it's like he was, as soon as he switched to the body, that's when Lara got even more on his bike. So it's like he's still trying to adapt, and that's like the thing that I don't think people like. Yeah. But I think he even posted a picture after, he's like, oh, showing new things, right? Showed new things, which was head movement, a little better defense. Yeah. He's not always, styles make fights, and you're not going to fight every fucking opponent the same style. Yeah. You're not.
It's fair to say you're a Canelo fan, right?
I wouldn't say I'm a fan, but I'm not. I don't want to deny that he's like an elite fighter. Yeah.
Can I ask you guys, what did you think about Brian Kenny? Because he's taken a lot of criticism. He's taken a lot of criticism. Yeah,
I saw that Twitter people.
They were being harsh to Brian Kenny.
That's the main guy from the zone, right?
Honestly, I can't say anything because I always watch it in Spanish.
Can you fill us in?
I always watch in Spanish.
So there's been a lot of criticism because Brian Kenny, who's the lead play-by-play announcer for DAZN, was especially favoritive of Canelo Alvarez and his performance. And I think would lead you to believe that Canelo perhaps won, 10 to 11 rounds of that fight based off of the commentary that he was delivering. And I think a lot of people are off-put by it based off of what I see on Twitter and social media and stuff like that. And I'm curious, what Canelo fans think of the Brian Kenny thing. I personally, I thought it was excessive. And I understand it's an incredibly difficult job. You can only see certain angles of the ring. And everybody has personal preferences and personal biases. You cannot leave them aside. You try to as best as you can. But
you
ever seen that interview with Floyd Mayweather?
Which one?
And Brian Kenny?
I'm not sure which one you're referring to.
It's like Floyd Mayweather came back from retirement, and Brian Kenny was questioning him, why are you fighting Marcus?
Oh, yeah.
And then he's like, again, I'm talking to a man of nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I think I mentioned during the fight, I was like, he's riding Canelo a little too hard.
Yeah,
right?
A little bit, right? Oh, yeah. It was, right?
Yeah, he was. Bit. Yeah, that's something.
Okay. I can see how, like, after all the defensive Goku stuff, but every round, I was like, okay.
Because, I mean, Canelo's defense was exceptional. Well, we can agree to that, but yes, I do agree that the love was, like,
I watched
too
it
excessive.
In Spanish, and I got to say, aside from all the stuff I said about Jesse Vargas, he's an excellent commentator.
Yeah.
Holy shit, he does so well.
He's good.
And he speaks Spanish like
fluently. I never heard him.
Fluently. Like I was jealous.
He's earning that money.
I was
he's
like, I
earning
was
his contract.
born in Mexico, and I don't talk like that anymore. Just fluently, he's pretty amazing. Yeah. And they were saying it was close. They're saying, especially the last rounds, they're like, you know what, Canelo has landed the better shots every round, even when, like I think I tweeted this, like, don't let Jano Jacobs pushing Canelo against the ropes, distract you from the fact that most of the punches missed, but they were saying like, okay, that might look good for the judges, so it might be closer than we think. Yeah. They were never at any point sucking on Canelo's balls, like not once.
The thing that did it for me is there was kind of an inherent disrespect in who Daniel Jacobs even was. Like he refused to acknowledge that Daniel Jacobs was even a title holder. Right? Like see that. And it's kind of like
Oscar called him a contender in the Spanish show. He's like, at KTLA, you know how he does a KTLA in the morning? He's like, this is a big fight. The Daniel Jacobs, the contender, the other guy. And he's like, he's the other guy that contender. He's a champion.
He did win a bacon belt. So.
I'm like,
but like to the
put
extent
some respect on his name.
At the end of each round, when you're saying another round for the champion, and obviously you're
referring
to Canelo, it's like,
they're both
have a little bit of respect.
He tried to fix it at the end. Did you catch it? After the fight, he tried to fix it a little bit.
What did he say?
I think he said Sergio Mora gave him a hard time about that. Like he slipped him a note or something like that. But I just feel like it's a little bit disrespectful to what like Danny earned that belt. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like to the extent
I suppose.
It was a majority decision to his defense this time around.
And a bacon belt.
But I mean, the guy put in work, right? We can agree.
This time around, Gio.
I'm just saying, you guys will come around. Don't worry.
The guy put in work, though. I mean, like
like sooner or later.
He put in work. He's a fighter. He gets up every morning. He does all this stuff to just kind of lay that level of disrespect down from a guy who's like just sitting at the table going, "But you're not a real champion, though." Like,
that's.
I think the first
even
time
if you feel that way, like you can't say that on the
first time he said it. I'm like, he just called Canelo the champion. I'm like, the other guy technically is a champion too.
Yeah, I mean, so I kind of get that point because to me, like, I do look into I do try to differentiate when I call somebody a champion and somebody a title holder, because sometimes you just get those vacants. I get that, and I try to say title holder. I do use the phrase champion when they've gotten 2 belts unified, or or if they actually beat the man who had that belt.
Yeah.
So I do try to differentiate that, but that's
But
tough.
he's still a champion.
He's still a champion, yeah. And you saw the disrespect from when they were doing the 40 days.
Oh yeah.
I guess they had him waiting in
En el
Mexico.
sol ahí, like
Like he was
quemado.
it's like, I got to show a little bit more respect, man. Like that guy, not just his backstory, but just like,
I mean,
you
I thought it was distasteful.
Yeah.
I just was curious what everybody else thought. Because
but I didn't see it in Spanish, Lily. So that's
Oh,
insightful that you.
I really like. I always watch it in Spanish, always, because remember when you guys were watching the Charlo fights when the Charlo brothers fought, and you guys were like, "Oh, damn, this commentary is crazy." I'm like, I don't know, I'm watching in Spanish. Like, it's pretty good here.
Yeah.
I like the ESPN Spanish. They have like Juan Manuel Marquez and the other
Chavez.
guys. Yeah, they're pretty good.
Like I feel the reason Brian and Sergio Tamir, they gave him a lot of love. When you're seeing like a boxing match, like tactical, like someone that's a purist of boxing, a purist fan of boxing, you love that. Like that was actually a pretty good tactical fight on Canelo's part. Like it was beautiful to see that, and then you might get drawn into that. But at the same time, you got to like kind of check yourself, because it's like you don't want to, like you said, like.
And especially for someone that's so hated like Canelo, like you gotta keep it easy, because then people are gonna talk shit to you regardless, because they already hate him. So they're gonna be even more critical.
But at the same time, I feel like you shouldn't feel like you have to like kind of
Again,
filter yourself. If you
pases.
really feel that way, I don't feel like you should say, "Oh, people are gonna
But
hate it."
if you
so.
really feel that way, then there might be some bias because
there might be
of
some
the
bias.
like they said it, with the terminology that he was using, like with the the scripted words that he was the
The
champ.
champion.
Another one for like the people automatically assume that that's Canelo.
Yeah.
We automatically knew who the fuck he was talking about, but the fact that he's using that terminology, it's a little, it's biased by all means.
Yeah.
The wording is biased. He could be like, another one for Canelo, and it would be like, okay. But he says a chant. It's like,
and he would have been wrong a lot too. That's the other thing. Like when you get into the 11th round, you're like, all 11 rounds so far for Canelo. Like, okay. Like I'm not sure what his vantage point was. But
So is there anything you guys liked from Jacobs in this fight?
I like that he fought a competitive fight with.
You got to give me more detail, man.
I mean, I like the later
No, because
rounds.
one of my casual
I
friends.
like that he paid the fan.
One of my casual.
I like it. He was like, forget it. I'm just gonna take my weight. I'm gonna take my weight, and I'm gonna take the hit. I'm gonna take a $900,000 hit. Take my 4 pounds and move on.
I wish.
Go for it.
I wish you would have, like, even in the later rounds, like, you knew you need a knockout to
Yeah.
win. Why not, like, literally
Go for
go
broke, yeah.
all out?
Mm-hmm.
Might as well. Otherwise, Canelo can't drop
Yeah.
him. He's too big.
Getting hit hurts,
But
especially getting hit by Canelo.
I like that. To me, it's just he never found a rhythm.
He never, yeah.
He never looked comfortable in his stance. That's
So
why
you
he was
guys didn't
switching
like
back
shit,
and forth.
basically. This is what you're telling me. What'd you
No,
like?
Honestly, I
don't
didn't-
think he looked like.
I don't think he looked bad. He didn't look bad, but Canelo just looked better.
Yeah, I didn't like a whole lot, man. Like, obviously, like, I like the later rounds where you got some action going, but,
Man, you guys just argue with me for like past 20 minutes, and you can't find a compliment to give to Jacobs.
I gave him one.
What, that he paid the fine?
I'm glad he didn't try and bust his ass to make weight.
Is there
They
anything you
just paid
liked
it.
in
They
the
just paid
fight?
it.
In the fight, anything you liked in the ring?
No, not in particular.
What about you?
I just like how he fought the later rounds, but not enough. I wanted to see that throughout the whole
No,
fight.
I mean I did like. It's not really like I said. It wasn't a scrap, right?
Yeah.
This wasn't a barn burner fight,
Yeah.
so it's not like one of those fights that you can look at and go, "Wow, this was highly." This was not the fights at the Forum a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So you look at it and you can appreciate only the craft that you see, right? And most of the craft that you witnessed in that fight was coming from Canelo. Like the pure craft was
All right,
coming
so I'll
from
switch
him.
up the question. What's the best thing that you liked about Canelo?
I thought Canelo's defense was on point. Canelo's defense looked very good. I think Canelo always appears to have just a little something extra on his punches. I don't know if you guys feel like that, but like every punch he throws with purpose.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily that, like, there are some guys who are head hunting, they're throwing with malintent. His punches are just so crisp that they just seem like they have a little something extra on it. In fact, it's one of the reasons that I think that there's some judging bias with Canelo in the past, why you get such wide margins on certain rounds where you're like, that doesn't make sense. How did he get a draw? It's because he's just got really crisp sharp
Yeah, because
shots.
even when he's in exchanges that are competitive exchanges, for some goddamn reason, his
looks better.
punches
Yeah.
look more crisp. They look more accurate. They look like they landed right where he intended them
Yeah,
to.
I think you put up a
You know?
post up right on your Instagram where Jacobs threw like 7 punches,
Yeah,
and
and
the
that's
one
what
punch
I-
that Canelo
Yeah.
threw was the cleanest
And
one.
that's what
It
I
was the
asked. That's why I
cleanest,
put
yeah.
in the caption, what do you like? Do you like, being the busier fighter, or do you like being the more inward, quote unquote effective fighter? And
Yeah.
people got super butthurt, like, oh, you're implying that Canelo was better. I'm like, I'm asking you a fucking question, so
yeah.
thank you for answering.
Well, it is
I'm like,
like-
you clearly answered that you'd rather have the busier fighter. Thank you for. But
No,
people
there's a
are
bias
so
in that question,
defensive.
though.
Yeah.
There's a bias in that question. When you say, do you like the busier fighter or the fighter who's more effective, it implies that Daniel Jacobs'
Wasn't
punches
effective.
are not as effective as the one that Canelo landed.
But
But you
because
don't
if
know
you,
that.
but because if you see on the post,
What it
They
is.
none
weren't
of them
effective.
they didn't land well.
That-
Yeah.
He was
didn't,
like,
but
they
in that
landed
exchange, I think I know which exchange you're referring to. It's the one where Canelo's on
Against
the
the
ropes,
ropes, yeah.
right? Where he
Against the ropes.
Take a shot.
I know. The one where Canelo's against the ropes and Danny throws like 7 punches in that exchange. In that exchange, he lands a body shot. He lands an uppercut, right? Now, Canelo's looks crisper when he lands it.
Yeah.
But you cannot say that Daniel Jacobs' punches weren't effective because you actually don't know if they were or not. Like, you don't know what effect
Canelo
that those
came
punches
right
had.
out, so it wasn't
Yeah.
as effective.
Maybe they weren't effective in terms of like percentage landed,
Damage.
like or damage per se, because you throw 7 punches and it seems like the other guy hurt you
Okay,
with
but
one.
It wasn't. Let me
But
tell you
did it
this.
seem like that? So at the
yes,
end of the day-
it wasn't the 7 punches you saw
what it
Gallo
seemed.
throw to Rungvisai the Friday before. Those punches were 7 punches.
Yeah.
Combination, and that should look
It
good.
landed.
I'm just saying,
And they landed.
you all are making a number of assumptions here. Like, for instance, at the end of that fight, I'm sorry, was Daniel Jacobs all cut up and bruised? And like,
was bruised.
was he?
Not that. No.
His ears look
The
bigger
point
to
is-
me.
You're
my
such an asshole.
Like,
oh my god.
Was Daniel Jacobs just?
So
Just lost a lot of fans,
rude.
guys.
I know.
I know.
Was-
what
Come
is
at me.
rude?
Make
Oh
sure you don't cry when you type.
But was
You're
Daniel?
so
keyboard.
Was
rude.
Daniel Jacobs like annihilated in that
No,
fight?
nope.
In fact, was he ever in danger of even going down?
Nah. I
Like,
don't
Probably
did
think
you guys look at any point and go, Jesus, he's about to go? No,
Probably.
he never looked like that.
When?
He never looked like that.
Oh, I'm just.
And
fucking-
Canelo
just
never
fucking
looked like
with
that
him.
either.
God
So
damn.
you
Yeah.
can't look at that and go like, oh well, clearly Canelo's one shot made up for the 4 that were landed on him.
Well,
when
visually,
neither,
that's
when
what it
neither
seems
guy
like.
like
Visually, yeah.
Because,
I agree.
Because if
I
you throw
agree.
7 and the guy throws 1 and you step back,
Yeah,
you're like,
I think that depends on like
No,
the rest
I
of
agree.
the rest of the fight too. Like, it's sad to say this, but like if that's the one round that's the most close, you're like, hey, I'm gonna give this one to Jacobs because he like
That's
volume
what
punching.
I feel like that's what I
So,
did in my score.
courtesy
I'm
rounds?
like, I gotta
Courtesy
give it
rounds,
just
Yeah,
because.
courtesy rounds are a thing.
Because if I say it's 11-1, people are gonna be like, you don't know shit. I'm like, I'll give it to Jake.
Yeah.
Cool.
11-1, you're like Brian Kenny over here.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Jacobs did some good things, but I think just and I know you shouldn't do this, but it's like based on that fight with Triple G, where you saw what that size advantage did, you expected more, and he didn't impose his size. Because I think Joe, you even talked about it, I was like, he's a taller fighter, but he doesn't look
Never
like the taller.
fights
He never
like a
fights
tall
tall.
fighter.
Yeah,
So it's
I agree.
yeah.
He didn't use the size advantage.
Real quick, he weighed in 186 reportedly on fight night
Yeah.
or the day of, and Canelo 175. So
Yeah, and back to the crisp
11
punches.
pounds.
Yeah, back to the crisp punches. Canelo has a shorter jab, but that jab was so much more effective than the supposed longer reach.
And that's what I think on my podcast before the fight, I said, like, I need Jacobs to use it, and he needs to do what Triple G did to Lemieux.
Yeah,
That's how Jacobs is going to win that fight. If he can use his jab and box on the outside, that's what I expected.
Yeah, that's what I
I
thought
expected
too.
him to, like, jab the fuck Canelo away and, like, keep his distance and box on the outside.
But it didn't work with Triple G. That's the thing.
No.
You look at it and you go, yeah,
No,
well,
I
Triple
meant that
G
that's
tried
what
to
I
do
need.
the jab. And
No, that's what I... Wait.
no,
Triple
I'm saying
G
when
to
you
him.
when you watch Triple G fight Canelo, he's using
The jab,
an
yeah.
excellent jab.
Oh, yeah, but
right?
it's not the same.
And
It
it's
didn't
all
work.
He's slower,
all around
though.
the
He's
outside and all
slower
this. He's
than
using the jab the entire
Jacobs.
time, and
Because
and
that's
it
the
didn't
only
get him to win.
reason. That's the only reason why people think that Triple G won the second one, because they're like, oh, but the jab, a jab is efficient for making scoring points, for maintaining your distance,
For
for
setting up
maybe
some-
setting up another punch, but it doesn't win you fights. Like a jab alone, as spectacular as Triple G's jab is, it's not gonna win you fights. It's
So
not gonna be the reasoning behind.
I don't even know if he answered, but what was the thing you liked most about Canelo?
I think his head
I think you
movement.
said his. What'd you say? His defense.
I said his defense was on point, and I think his punches are always
Clean.
very clean. Yeah, like everything he throws is clean.
For you, his defense.
his head movement. Like we've been calling Canelo flat-footed since we've
I was
been,
gonna say, like
you
that.
know, and
hate
he's
when
still
people say
pretty
that.
heavy-footed. He's not like a, you know, footwork guy.
Yeah.
He's definitely hasn't had the footwork advantage against any of his competition. But well, I guess Triple G because he's fucking flat-footed too. But he makes up for it in head and waist movement, and I think that's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
He
So
looked
that's
great.
That's actually something I said when we were watching the fight. I was like, he looks like he's a fighter from a different era.
Yeah.
I'm used to watching like old school film, and a lot of fighters
Mm-hmm.
back then are flat-footed, but they know how to shorten that distance. They know how to. They have this awkward posture, which is very.
I love
short,
the
but-
way he looked when he made when he made Golovkin. What the fuck is wrong with me? When he made Jacobs miss, like after, like
man.
when he made a
Please do not
he
confuse
looked
those two.
so confident. He would just
Yeah.
go back and like not smile, not do anything, but you could tell he was like,
confident,
yeah,
yeah.
bitch, I did that.
When
I
He
saw
has an
that-
excellent poker face.
When
actually.
Jacobs
Yeah.
fell, that one Superman punch.
Oh yeah.
that,
He was like-
Oh, yeah.
that was pretty funny. But
There was a point in time where he had backed Jacobs up to the ropes and was throwing combinations, and Danny actually landed 2 really solid, like clean hooks in a row, and then immediately Canelo started retreating, right? And you look at it and you know those punches hurt. You would never know it to look at Canelo. You never know that. Other than the fact that you just can tell, like, wow, he was applying aggressive pressure and now is, you know, essentially on his way back to the other side of the ring. Obviously, those shots did something, but you wouldn't know it.
Took it, man.
Yeah,
Roll with it.
you wouldn't know it.
what
So-
did you like the most of
Yeah,
Canelo, I guess?
just like I said, just his. We always say like flat-footed is you know, it's like
I never saw it as a bad thing.
It's like, yeah.
flat-footedness.
Yeah, it's you get more power from your punches if you're like that. You're feeling like that. You're shorting that distance.
Or balance.
Yeah, to me, like he was actually really close to Jacobs, where he was, you know, landing really good shots. Obviously not, you know, the type of punches where you knock a person down. Because I mean, I think Jacobs did a good job in, you know, evading something like those punches. But yeah, dude, he looked great, dude. He just looked great in there. This is like another performance.
Brian Kenny over here.
This
A room full of Brian Kennedy.
yeah, this one alongside the Triple G2 are the ones I'm like, God damn, this guy's
Yeah.
a great fighter.
I like his defense too. I agree with you guys, but I think I saw that before though. Like against Triple G, for some reason people don't talk about it in those fights, but
Yeah.
he showed that too. I liked his accuracy because they showed the percentages after, right? He landed like 45% or
Yeah.
some ridiculous percentage. So I thought that was pretty impressive.
Triple G1 was very different though because he was using his feet for defense.
More,
So
yeah.
right, like so for Triple G1, he's using his feet to actually
But
work
even
his
against
way
the
around the
ropes, you still see
outside.
the-
It was more like Triple G2.
Yeah.
Like on that one, he's the flat-footed coming forward. But I think Triple G1, you see a different kind of defense that people kind of get annoyed by. No, they do. Like I actually think that when you see people who use their feet and work around the outside of the ring a lot, a lot of boxing fans will have
Yeah.
a tendency to say he's running.
We
He's-
talked about
like,
that,
He's running.
um,
He's doing this. So people don't like that.
We talked about that
Yeah.
last week when Anthony Sims was here because a lot of people were booing him at the
Yeah.
forum
Oh,
for
yeah.
doing
Sure.
that in the last
Yeah.
rounds.
Yeah.
But when you're up like 8-1 in the scorecards and you're going into the last round, it's like, do you want to go out there and scrap or just
Yeah,
call it a day?
and people have terminology for that, right? Getting on your bike.
Yeah.
Sticking, but
Get on
sticking
your bike.
moving.
Well, honestly, now that you mentioned that the later rounds, that's what I was hoping Danny would do in the last rounds. I'm like, motherfucker, just box.
Yeah.
Like, don't engage. You already secured the fight with the second knockdown in the 11th. The 12th, I was hoping he'd just go out and like cruise, like have TJ, chase him. No, he's like going toe to toe again. I'm like, don't. Oh my God. I was
But it
like,
was so much better, wasn't it?
yes.
As a
but-
boxing
Yes.
fan, you
Yes.
watch it and you're like, it's so
as a
much
boxing
better.
Yeah.
fan, yes, but yeah, I was very scared.
Yeah. Man, the thing I like to differentiate is do you want to see a boxing match or a fight? Most casuals want to see a fight, not a boxing match.
It's not just
I think
casuals,
everybody.
though.
I just hate when people boo.
I think everybody. Yeah, I get you.
I hate
Yeah.
that shit.
Yeah, I
Get
think-
it out.
Yeah, it's not just casuals though, because if you think about it, the fights that we put on a pedestal, like
Are the fights.
boxing purists, like the people who love boxing, they're Gaddy and Ward,
Yeah.
right?
That's a
right.
fight.
Like they're
Yeah.
fights like this where you look at it and you're like, oh well, it's your Hagler and your Hearns,
Hearns, mhm.
and your Gaddy and your Ward, and you think about it, those aren't pure boxing matches,
it's a
and they're
fight.
not pure boxers. So it's really not just casuals. Like
Yeah.
everybody likes a good scrap.
Yeah.
That's what everybody likes to see.
But with talented guys that offer more than just that. Because people are probably going to hate me for this.
Uh-oh.
But Leo Santa Cruz versus Abner Mares got real old real fucking fast, especially
Oh,
the
yeah,
second
yeah,
time
yeah.
around.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like, okay, like, yeah, okay, they're,
seen this
yeah,
before.
they are going toe to toe, and yeah, they're like literally middle of the ring, phone booth, but it's just like, oh,
You
cool.
know they can't hurt
But
each
both
other.
those guys
Yeah.
are
Yeah,
talented,
that's
though.
when
And
can't
they are
hurt each
talented,
other.
but
You
I
know-
don't know, like I said,
Yeah.
Yeah.
People are gonna hate me more for this, but no, I'm just kidding. No, when I was watching Clarissa Shields against Lady Hammer,
Mm-hmm.
it was like the same thing. Like
Yeah.
you knew they couldn't hurt each other at some point in that fight. Like Clarissa has like what 2 knockouts,
yeah,
and she was
something
just.
like that.
It got to the point where she was just dominating. And you're
Boring
like,
her.
there's not gonna be a knockout in this fight.
But see, I enjoyed if it's like boxing style wise, just like Gassiev and Usyk is a good example. But that's not a good example because we thought Gassiev was just gonna end it at any time. But I like watching clinics. I do like watching boxing clinics. But another one, I don't know if you were there for Nico the Rooster Macias versus Soto Caras.
Yeah.
Yes.
That shit was funny initially, right? Because he would literally just have him in his like corner, like, and that's your assigned corner for this round, and then
Yep.
like in the other round he'd like put him over there, and that's just like designated corner. But it's like, okay, after a while you're laughing, and then after like, okay, like
They broke a record.
I never get bored in Roosters fights. Never.
I
don't. I think it's
I love
remarkable.
his smile, how he's like just smiling the whole time.
I
I
get
think
what
it's
you're saying though, because
remarkable.
at first I was glued to the TV, and after I was
Yeah.
just like,
Okay, yeah, like after like the 7th round, you're like, okay,
But
like
the truth is,
Alright.
They actually broke my bad, but
Oh, yeah.
they actually broke the compo box record
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
punches
Punches.
landed and thrown.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But the truth is, it actually doesn't take great fighters to make great fights.
Yeah.
And the
It
great
takes the
fights
right
it
matchmaking.
just takes the
Right.
right people. Like if you look at it, Arturo Gatti and Mickey Ward, for as much as we love those fights, we remember them because they fought each other, not because they were exceptional.
Yep.
Neither one of them at any point in their career was really considered exceptional. And I don't mean that to be
No,
in
it's
an
true.
offensive way. I just
I
don't
never
think
thought
that
of
they
it
were
like that,
to
but
the
that's
top.
so true.
The truth is, they were the right people for each other, and they made
You know,
something magical.
It's interesting you say that because when we had Alfonso Gomez on the show, he actually retired Arturo Gatti in his last fight. And when I was making the video, I actually typed that, and I felt bad for typing it, for putting it in the video. Gatti, most remembered for fighting Mickey Ward. And I was like,
But it's
Yeah,
true
but it's
though.
true. Yeah.
But you know what? That's okay because there are plenty of people who walk around with belts and things like this who don't have memorable moments
Yeah,
all the
no,
time. They're
yeah.
champions all the time that you will never remember because they didn't get a moment like that. Arturo Gatti and Mickey Ward created something that we will not forget, and it's almost probably the best thing that you can do in boxing.
An
is
example,
create a moment
an example
that
what
you
you
can't forget.
said is Andre Ward. I mean, he's pound for pound, he was up there, champion.
Yeah.
But he didn't have like a signature, highlight. I guess
You
could
really
say.
don't think hitting Kovalev in the dick
Oh, no,
is
no, no.
signature? Come on now.
Kovalev
So you'll
was
remember-
out,
you'll
man.
remember-
That's top notch.
You'll remember
Kovalev
that. You'll
was
remember
out.
that.
No, yeah,
but
he lost. He lost that
Yeah,
fight.
he was on his way down.
Yeah, but
But I wish they would have just let him finish
All
it.
it did was rob him of an actual knockout.
That's what I was
Yeah.
fucking
Because
mad
he was
about.
gonna get it
that,
for
that
sure.
would have been
Like,
it.
You should have.
Yeah.
He had just landed like a one on the
sick low
head
blow.
and one to the body that clearly hurt Kovalev. So might as well
Yeah.
finish him. He didn't even give him a standing count, like nothing.
Yeah.
He didn't even. Kovalev didn't even like fall. He's just kind of like,
Yeah.
oh my nuts, and he didn't even like give him a count. He's just like, oh no.
Yeah, yeah.
Like at least give him a count and then let him finish
Let
him.
him finish
You know what I
him,
mean?
yeah.
Like that. I
Yeah.
feel like that's what makes even Andre Ward look even like a little bit. It's a little bit more controversial, even though we all knew that he was gonna
He was gonna
He was gonna,
finish him
yeah.
anyway.
He was gonna finish him.
Just
either
give
way.
him that, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah.
back to
That is a
to
really
Gatti.
good point, though. I've never seen it like that, and it's so true.
Yeah, back to Gatti and Ward. There was for a moment they were wondering if Arturo Gatti was like worthy of being in the Hall of Fame because they were like he was never really like I guess you could say an elite fighter, but they still I'm pretty sure he went in because of all the action fights and all the fight of the year candidates because he had year after year after year fight of the year candidates
And it makes it deserving.
Yeah.
It really does. Like it's up there in terms of when you ask people what the best fight of all time, what was the greatest fight you ever seen? That fight,
That one's up there.
Out
Yeah.
of 10 people, 7 people are going
Yeah.
to talk about that
Yeah.
fight
Most definitely.
in their top 2 or 3.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, when you tell Jim Lampley that he gets to right.
of course.
Waterworks.
All right. So is there anything you guys liked from the undercard that May 4th?
Jojo.
Jojo Diaz.
Bad Bunny. Yeah, again, you guys are gonna hate me for this, but I like JoJo. He's a cool fighter. I don't see anything special in him. I never did.
I think we would all agree with that, right, in this room. I don't know
He's
about you.
I won't agree with it.
He's a cool fighter.
You have your
I will
political.
not agree with
He's
that. I don't agree.
good.
I wouldn't expect you
I
to.
disagree, JoJo.
He's good.
I wouldn't
Jojo.
expect you to agree.
He's good. He's a good guy
Yeah.
to fight guys that are also good.
Yeah.
But he's not A level at all.
Just like
I
Jacob.
He's A-level to me.
I do love though that he was so persistent about the taking on Gary Russell. I thought that was pretty amazing that he was so persistent about it since he was coming up, and he actually did it. You know, like
another
he
participation medal.
No. But most
He had a
people
competitive
don't.
fight with Gary Russell.
Most
did.
people don't ask for guys like Gary
Yeah,
Russell. You know, and
That's
So,
probably
to
to
me,
me
it's like-
top like 5
I
toughest
respect
fighters,
that.
like pound
Yeah,
for pound. Like,
exactly.
Just in terms of style.
Even though he's not, like you said, he's not active. He's not like an active boxer that fights, you know, constantly. He only fights once a year. But you know he's gonna win unless Lomachenko. Other than that, he's the A side. So I do give JoJo props, but in no way, shape, or form do I see him as anything that's gonna be special or even. I'm sorry, maybe if Golden Boy lined something up for him, but the first time they did, he didn't make weight. So it's like he must have not wanted it that
He's at a
bad.
higher weight now, though. And Tevin Farmer is an opportunity that's there
But
that could be interesting
that's
because
what
Tevin
pissed me
Farmer doesn't
off.
have, like...
It pissed me off that Tevin Farmer showed up at the weigh-in because what are you doing there? You turned down the fight. So what are you doing then, Tevin Farmer? You're a fan. What are you doing there? Oh my God, that reminded me. You guys were the ones that posted that video.
posted
Canelo
the
at
clip.
the end's
We
like,
did,
like, what do you think of Triple G being ringside? It's like, oh, that's so cool that he's here. He's my fan. I'm like, damn. I hadn't seen that.
I saw it on TV because my mom was watching like Univision on the
Your
sports section, and they showed it. So I went on YouTube and I couldn't find the full
Yeah.
clip. They kind of cut that.
Yeah.
He's a fan part out, but that's what he said. Because they're like, oh, what do you think about Triple G? He's around here. It was for like the Mexican media, and he was like, oh, I'm glad he came to watch. I'm glad he's a fan. So that was pretty funny.
So yeah, that's what I think of Tevin Farmer. It's like you're so corny. You're just there for. I mean, it's a zone. They're there to build publicity. They're there to like obviously make this kind of seem heated, so they make people like, ooh, maybe they'll fight. I'll subscribe to the zone to see it if it happens. But why did he say no? Like y'all are both. I thought that was corny that he said no and he was still there talking shit. Like, bro,
It could reasonably happen, though. And it could,
I would
like,
want to see that.
Yeah,
If
like,
he gets
wouldn't
paid.
you? Yeah.
I think JoJo would have a nice advantage over Farmer because Farmer has no pop in his punches.
Oh,
But
he
he's
said
also
on it, brother.
but he's, you know, Farmer's the more tactical guy, which I don't think Gary Russell, as a Mexican boxer, doesn't do well against.
Wait, so you're favoring JoJo over Farmer?
No, I'm just saying it would be competitive. It
Oh,
would be
okay.
more competitive than anything that Tevin Farmer has fought.
Yeah, I agree.
But he wouldn't.
I thought I heard you say that you would favor.
No.
I was like, I'll
Telling
take
you
that
they don't
bet.
listen.
No. I said it would be
They
like
hear
the best
certain
fight
words
for
and-
both of them.
Mhm.
Because honestly, Tevin Farmer, he's gonna lose to what? What is the other option? Gervonta? It's gonna get knocked the fuck out. But he's a tactical guy, and that's what gives these guys problems. But JoJo's the next best thing that is gonna because Tevin
And I don't
Farmer's
think-
very busy,
I don't
but
think
he
he has
doesn't
enough
fight good
power.
opposition.
I don't think he has enough power to like keep
Yeah.
JoJo at bay.
I think it's a great matchup.
Yeah.
Like, it could be a really entertaining fight, actually, between those two guys.
But yeah, I think JoJo's that's what I meant. JoJo's the one that's gonna try to be pressing the fight, and Tevin's just gonna be doing what he does.
Yeah.
You know, like what he knows he can win with. He's not gonna be stupid about it.
You think JoJo Diaz will be a world champion?
I think Golden Boy's gonna set it up so he is.
Chris says no.
They're gonna set up something.
When you say champion, do you mean title holder?
Do you mean the
mean a
WBC
title
with
holder.
Chord Belt?
Interim, regular, or
I mean a world title holder.
A WBC Mayan belt.
No.
They're gonna make the own
World
belt.
title holder.
The Bad Bunny
Because
belt.
there are
a
basically
Latin American.
there are different routes for him, right? Because
you
you
look like
at
Bad
it,
Bunny.
you look at it and you're like, okay, well, he could fight Andrew Cancion, who he already beat, and become WBA regular champion, right? And
Well,
that's
they're
a
already
world
gonna announce a
champion
rematch, no?
for
Cancion versus
Cancion.
Machado.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, they will. But if Cancion wins that fight, that's a fight conceivably that JoJo could take, and he's already
and
beat
Golden-
Andrew Cancion.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Golden Boy would have
Right.
no problem sacrificing Cancion. Like
Yeah.
they'd be like, okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Great.
You
and then
got it.
there's-
We give it to you. We take it away.
Sacrifice.
so there's
Yeah.
that route,
The
and then there's
sacrificial lamb.
yeah,
The sacrificial lamb.
yeah. So there's that route, and then there's the Tevin Farmer route,
Sure sounds like the Mayan.
right?
I know, right?
Oh
So,
my-
so it would be a Mayan belt.
So unlike a lot of people, he has actually multiple opportunities to claim a world
title.
title, right? So, a title holder, yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else? Virgil Ortiz against Herrera, Mauricio Herrera. You guys like that fight?
Oh man,
Demolished him.
Yeah, that's a pretty good win.
yeah, it was a good win.
Yeah, that's a decent win.
that had never been stopped.
Virgil has to be my favorite prospect, as in favorite, not like the best, because I think Teofimo right now is the best, but my personal favorite, and I think he's pretty close.
Anymore.
Nah, yeah. I really like Virgil, and I like that in the last couple fights he's been taking like more names that we are familiar with.
Yeah.
Like we're not like, who the fuck is that guy? You know, like, or it's another test. It's guys like that. Like we said, nobody had stopped Herrera like that, and
he's not a chump, man.
And most people think Herrera beat Danny Garcia.
He did.
Most people being me.
I know he beat Danny Garcia.
Most people, I mean me, you know, but so it's
in
like,
Puerto Rico.
so it is a nice win. A lot of people are like, oh, that's not the same Herrera, but still Herrera ain't no fucking pushover.
Yeah, I know.
And I loved how I've seen Virgil and Mikey spar, and it was amazing to watch. And seeing him like develop, it's pretty great. So I think Virgil is the best Golden Boy prospect. Or like you said, he's now moving up to be a contender.
Yeah, with Teofimo is, I think, certainly at this point, all his fights moving forward are either going to be title eliminators or title fights, right? So he's going to be in a WBC title eliminator, or he'll be in the Comey's in Comey's title eliminator, and working his way up to a title fight. So I think he's kind of out of he's ranked in the top 5, like in everything. He's
contendership now.
Yeah, he's right there. So
yeah,
I actually think there were 2 announcements this week related to Teofimo Lopez. So the WBC granted the exception for Vasily Lomachenko to challenge for the vacant belt.
Yeah.
So against Luke Campbell, right?
Campbell.
So Teofimo Lopez goes into a title eliminator tournament now for basically the number 1 spot in that. And then he's also in a title eliminator for the winner of Richard Comey versus Ray Beltran. So he can go either direction.
Angles,
Yeah.
I like that they did that for Lomachenko to try to get a vacant title. I know a lot of people are saying like, oh, why is Luke Campbell getting the shot? Don't they remember that he literally just won the eliminator?
Yeah.
He was supposed to be Mikey.
Number 1. Yeah.
He was supposed to be Mikey Garcia's
mandatory.
but Mikey vacated. So that's why he's getting a shot.
Yeah.
I don't get how people don't know these or don't bother to look it up, why he, instead of before protesting, like why
it's hard to follow.
Yeah.
To be fair, it's hard to
it
follow.
It sucks because again, he's not from here.
That's
so
why I follow
makes
your
sense.
boxing page so I can find out.
But at the
Xicana
same
Boxing.
time, you know what I mean? Like he's not popular here, and the only time we seen him here, he got dropped by Linares. You know, which was it wasn't like a shutout, but he got dropped, and that's what was, you know, the mostly deciding factor against Linares. But it's just like I'm glad that
forum?
Yeah,
right.
I'm glad that they're doing this to where they're giving the current champion also a shot, because let's be honest, let's say they gave Luke Campbell somebody else another
Devin Haney or something
somebody
like that.
No, like somebody else, like somebody like, okay, you can have
that you could win that belt
like two contenders for the just like they did with Easter and Barthélemy, you know, someone like that. Why make Luke Campbell a champion if he's not going to be like champion for that long in this division? Let's be fucking honest here. It's good that they're giving Lomachenko a chance to just be more unified. I like that. I thought that's pretty cool. A lot of people don't agree with it. A lot of people are like, no, leave somebody that's not a champion, let them have like a shot at it. Why? Luke Campbell's not going to against all the other come on now. We want unified divisions, not all these scattered champions. As great as everybody has talent in different divisions, but
I think the sanctioning bodies would argue that it gives unknown fighters a chance to become known. So fighters who you otherwise wouldn't have heard of, and it actually gives them a bargaining chip or a negotiation. It's why no champion is ranked by any sanctioning body.
Well, that's why
they never mandate that they fight each other.
That's why it's so important that they show up when they are going to fight for a title shot or for an eliminator, because even if, like you said, even if they don't win, people will remember you for the way you lose.
Yeah,
You know, like, so even if you, let's say, whatever, like, you're fighting for an eliminator or for a title shot, you might lose, but the way you lose, it makes a huge difference.
The perspective is interesting, though, because I think that, for instance, if Devin Haney fought Luke Campbell and won, would you consider him the real champion?
No.
No? So if Teofimo Lopez fought Luke Campbell and won, he would not be considered a real champion?
That would be a really good name to have under your name if you are Teofimo.
I think it's kind of a lose-lose, because if you're Luke Campbell and you win the title, you say, hey, he's not the real champion. But if you're Devin Haney and you win it, then everybody goes, yeah, he's the title holder.
I think that's part why they didn't call Jacobs the champion, right? The zone or whatever. But that to me, you have to beat a champion to be a champion,
yeah.
essentially. All right. If they're just matching you up for a vacant belt, I'm like, I don't know if I like that.
I think the status of the fighter plays into people's perception, I guess is what I'm saying. Because people
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Teofimo Lopez, if Teofimo Lopez wins a vacant belt,
I still wouldn't
people would be
consider
like,
And
wow,
like
that's
you
awesome,
said,
right?
like you said,
It's
because
they're
it's Luke
guys
Campbell
that we
that we
know.
crave.
Yeah, it's because
Yeah.
of guys that we're
Yeah.
more familiar with. You definitely got a point there. It's
Yeah.
definitely we're familiar with these guys. So of course, like you said, hey, anybody will be like, oh yeah.
Yeah, we'd be like, yeah, he's the
Yeah.
WBC champion. But when it's Luke Campbell, you're like, he's not a real champion. That's Lomachenko's belt.
The UK
You know?
fans,
That's
the UK
what
fans are
happens.
gonna be commenting.
You're
man,
just
like,
holding it for him.
That's what people will say.
He's temporarily holding it.
I'm not
for him,
making it
just
up. That's how people
Keeping
react
it
to
warm for him.
It's the same thing with Jose Pedraza wins the belt, and everybody's like, oh, he's just keeping that
Just
warm.
keeping it warm.
Just keeping that warm. That's what they said.
It's like, hold my belt.
Yeah.
hold my beer.
It's heavy right now. I have too many. Hold one
Right?
for me, please. Please hold on for me.
That's
too
gonna be
heavy.
a shirt. Hold my belt.
I only got 2 shoulders.
Did you see that? Did you see Canelo's pose? He's like this with like the belts on him. He's
I think my favorite picture like that is actually Usyk's picture
Oh
after
my
he won,
God,
where he's like got him
yes!
all out on his couch
Yeah.
and he's got the Ali trophy on
yeah.
his table.
Oh my god, I love Usyk.
That was
I love
that
Usyk.
was dope.
Have you guys seen Usyk? It's like he's like shadow boxing to Eminem.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
I gotta
love
see
that.
that.
So fucking funny.
I'm so sad that fight fell.
I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
I wanted to see.
I wanted
In
to
Maryland.
He hurt his biceps, so he's not going to be able to make his heavyweight debut.
Yeah.
So where were they
against
gonna fight at?
Carlos
Maryland.
Takam. Maryland, yeah.
That was not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Who pitched
disappointing.
that? Who pitched that? Like 2 guys that are not from the U.S. Maryland.
Not even people
Maryland.
who are from
Maryland.
Maryland would go to a fight in Maryland.
Yeah, they're so
It's
rude.
insane.
What is it to do in Maryland?
Watch boxing.
Yeah. I was gonna say I thought Chris was gonna be like the most sad person to see this fight get postponed, but nah, Lily, you're a big
I'm
fan.
pretty
Big
I'm
fan
a
of
big
Usyk.
fan of Usyk. I love him so much. Not like
Beast.
Roman,
Oh, he's
but
a
I
beast.
like love him as a fighter. I think he's great. Like I love everything about him. But I was excited to see him how he was gonna show up to the heavyweight division. I love that he was like at first initially he was going for was it Povetkin?
Yeah,
Yeah,
So it's like that's
that-
good. Like how are
that
you
one's good.
like slow the fuck down, bro.
Yeah.
He's not like taking the Fury route, you know, like nothing
Yeah.
against Fury. Who are you gonna fight on ESPN? But or Top Rank? But
That's
he's
actually
like
a really smart move for
he's
Tyson Fury.
going like.
Yeah.
You know, he's going to names that we know. And I guess I'm like, oh, well, no, Povetkin said no. Well, I guess I'll take Takam. Like, of course we know Takam's not who he used to be. He's definitely not in his prime anymore. But it's still
It's
a
still
name
a
we
name.
know and that we're familiar with. And we've seen him with some of the best. So I'm like,
Shit.
I like that.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was very, very cool. So it sucks. It sucks.
I think Tyson Fury's play is to become ranked #1 so that he becomes the mandatory for
Yeah.
Anthony Joshua's
Yeah.
title. So like even though everybody goes, who's this guy? The truth is by beating him, he's going to move up in the rankings.
Yeah.
Right. And when he moves up in the rankings, suddenly he'll become #1. They're going to mandate a match with Anthony Joshua. And then they'll have to go to purse bid between those 2 guys. So it's the climbing the rankings is
many
actually a really smart
politics.
thing for him
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah.
That's where
yeah.
the politics
That
are going to
fight
come
would
in.
be huge in the UK, man.
Yeah.
Wembley.
Yeah, it'd be like Klitschko versus Joshua.
Damn.
Yeah. To get all his belts
Yeah.
back. Right?
You're right.
Those are his belts.
Yeah.
Like
Joshua just keeping them warm.
like I'm meaning he never lost those in the ring, right? So
No,
those
yeah,
are all
yeah.
the belts that he has are the belts that
Yeah.
you get to see that. So I think moving up the rankings is really that's the play.
Yeah.
You're fighting guys so you can move up the rank,
Mm-hmm.
right?
So what do you guys think about Anthony Joshua against Andy Ruiz?
I do have one comment on the whole situation, okay? I remember when I saw that Brazil versus Wilder got made, and I was like watching the press conference, and I saw that he's like, oh, my trainer, Virgil Hunter. And I'm like, holy shit, like he left Manny Robles. I'm like, damn, I'm like,
Everybody leaving Manny.
another guy that left Manny. Holy shit, I'm like, damn, that sucks. Like he missed out on a payday. And
Yeah.
now he has Andy Ruiz, who will be
Yeah.
fighting Joshua and getting that payday. And in my opinion, of course, I don't think Andy's going to win. But
Yeah.
honestly,
land
he
something.
has a way better chance at
land
looking
something.
good against Joshua for a couple of rounds than
Yeah.
Brazil has at all
Yeah.
against against
You think
Wilder.
so?
I think Brazil folds like a chair in under three,
You guys
four,
agree
3
with that?
rounds.
Yeah.
Now Ruiz, I think
I say 5.
if you saw the Parker fight, most people think he won the
Yeah, I
Parker
thought he
fight.
actually won
Yeah,
that fight.
I thought he won. in his hometown. He went up over there. He showed him some good shit. He has really good hand speed. People say, oh, he's fat, whatever. I don't know if you guys how long have you guys been seeing Andy? He actually is way slimmer. Andy is way slimmer than he used to be. He used to be kind of chomp.
Big, yeah.
He used to be chomp. Now he's slimmer. He's doing strength and conditioning with the Andy kid from the same with Munguia and Leo's conditioning guy.
Aguilar, right? Andy Aguilar.
Yeah.
Is that his name?
He's a really cool guy, but that's what I'm saying. He has hand speed. He brings more to the table to at least look nicely against Joshua and not, he's never been knocked out. So I feel like he has way of a better shot and to look good, because let's say most people are counting him out, let's be honest. But if he looks good, like he said, is the way you lose, is the way you get exposure, because he's been all over the place. Andy has been with Abel Sanchez, left Abel Sanchez, and then he was with Top Rank at the time, left Top Rank, now he's with PBC. And he's like making these changes and he's making himself noticeable. He's a cool guy. I have a video of him, his son, and my son doing like Fortnite dances together. But he has a better chance than Brazil. It's gonna be a more interesting fight. So that's the only thing I have to say on that.
I like the fight.
It's like the best fight.
As a last minute,
as the last minute.
It's cool.
Who else are they gonna have? Also, Ruiz is fresh off people's minds.
Yeah.
He's fresh off people's minds. He just fought not that long ago, and ever since he came back from his like little layoff, he came back on the Scott Quick versus Valdez fight, and he knocked the guy in like 30 seconds. And then after that, he's just been looking pretty good, and he's been, he's looking good. He's fresh off people's minds. It's the best fight to make in such short notice, like Gio said. Like, what else are you gonna do to salvage a U.S. debut?
I mean, we're not gonna say that he is gonna win because
no.
But I mean, it
should be competitive. Right?
It should.
You know what pissed me off? That King Kong didn't take it because he said about money, and I'm like, bro, you are old.
Yeah.
Who else are you gonna make? First of all, who else are you gonna make this money against? 2, you're old. 3, like you've been begging for this fight. You wanted when you first signed with Eddie Hearn and you were promised this fight and you were pissed that it never worked out. Now you got it and you turn it down. It only leads me. I hate to be like you said, the conspiracy boxing fans, but it leads me to believe that he's fucking on something, because why else would you not take a fight? I have a feeling he's cycling off of something. Why else would you not take this fight?
So you don't believe the mismanagement sort of thing that he came
No,
out and said?
I don't, because
that it was a bad play by his promoter or his manager,
No,
or not his manager, his promoter.
Also, what I've been hearing is that it's because he was promised a rematch with Wilder. But it's like that's not gonna happen either. How long was Brazil a mandatory for Wilder? And it never happened until now that the Fury fight fell out.
Not even.
He does not give a fuck about his mandatories. He does not give a fuck
Dylan
about
White has been the mandatory for 3 years now.
That's
Longer
why.
than Dominique Brazil.
Exactly.
He's been waiting
and
longer.
That's what I'm fucking saying. You think you think Wilder gives a fuck about his mandatories, or he gives a fuck about people mandating rematches on him? He doesn't, because he still wants that AJ fight. So it's like, why are you, if it's true that you're waiting on that rematch, that doesn't make sense either. That's a promised thing. This is a fucking deal that they're giving you right now to sign.
Yeah.
You know what I don't like? There's this sort of theory or these comments that always come out every time one of these fights doesn't get made that says that one fighter is scared of another.
Oh, I hate that shit.
Do you guys ever believe that? I don't ever believe that. Like, people will say, like, oh,
They're
he's scared.
boxers.
He's
What are they
scared
gonna
of
be
Anthony
scared of?
Joshua. He's scared of Deontay Wilder. Like, none of these. Have you seen these men? They're not scared of it.
They're not. Like, I don't think you
They're
go
not
into
scared of Anthony
boxing if you're
Joshua.
scared. If you're
They're not scared of Anthony Joshua, and Anthony Joshua is not scared of them, and that's the way it's supposed to be.
However, though, I will say this. With Kell Brook and Amir Khan, I don't think they're scared. I don't think Amir Khan is scared of Kell Brook. I don't think the thing I see there is he doesn't want to have a loss by Kell Brook.
Yeah.
Like,
That
it's
may be
different.
true.
So
Like,
spiteful.
he's like,
That's what I
they're
said
so
about,
spiteful against each other that they would hate to have lost to the other.
That's what
I
I
Does
said
that make
about
sense?
Rios.
So it's not like
and,
they're scared. They're
Ortiz.
just
Brandon Rios and Ortiz.
there. There you
That's
go.
what I
That's
said.
another
Yeah.
perfect example.
Yeah.
They're not scared of each other, but they don't want to have that sting for the rest of their lives that they lost to that motherfucker that they
Yeah,
hate.
and that's going to define their career.
That's
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
define their career.
But they're definitely not afraid
But
of
they're
each
not
other.
scared. Like, physically, they're not scared. They're scared of losing to certain people.
Brandon Ortiz probably fought a couple times, so like in the alley and shit, like
At
outside
their
the
bar
gym.
where
like,
they
so-
saw each other. Like Peter and that chicken on Family Guy, just wherever they see each other.
Other chicken.
All right, not that I want to cut you guys off, but I do want to talk about this, though, because usually everybody gets all caught up with Canelo everything. But I'll say all these matches, and you guys could talk about them right afterwards. So this Saturday we got the rematch: Miguel Bercho versus Francisco Vargas. Second one, then the other rematch: Emmanuel Navarrete versus Isaac Dogbe. On the same day, you got Jared Hurd versus Julian Williams. So back-to-back fights. And then the following Saturday, May 18, you got ESPN Plus. You got Billy Joe Saunders making his debut at 168. Same night on the co-main event, you got Joe Joyce versus Alexander Ustinov. That's going to be an interesting fight. On that same day, May 18, Deontay Wilder versus Dominic Breazeale. And finally, Gary Russell Jr. versus Kiko Martinez. He's going to be fighting. That same Saturday, you got the WSS semi-finals.
Hold on, let me cut you off real quick. Because he has two brothers who are going to fight on that same card, Gary Russell Jr. And they're all named Gary Russell.
Yeah.
Look at that. It's hilarious.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, my.
Even George Foreman, too. And so same day, May 18, the zone, the semifinals 140, Ivan Baranchik versus Josh Taylor for the 140 IBF title.
Sounds super good.
Same day, Naoya Inoue versus Emmanuel Rodriguez for the IBF bantamweight. And then afterwards, that following Saturday, May 25th, Maisuke Ito versus Jamal Herring for the junior lightweight title, WBO. That same Saturday, May 25th, Austin Trout is going to be fighting. And that same Saturday, May 25th, Devin Haney is going to be making his debut with the zone. And on the undercard was going to be the heavyweight that was actually going to fight Joshua, Michael Hunter. So if it would have been not Andy Reese, it would have been Michael Hunter. But I think you're right, Lily. I do want to talk about what you said about the zone or Golden Boy is not going to have back-to-back fighters with like Jacobs and then Demetrius Andrade. That's an interesting point.
That's social suicide.
That's where you get the Liam Smith.
That's why. Yeah. So in this case, the matriculation for that has to be like a setup fight like Miguel Bercho versus Francisco Vargas, right? So in this case, Triple G versus Canelo, right? Is that what you're expecting for September?
I don't think so, because I don't think that's still, even though, okay, I do believe that Canelo would win more comfortably at third round, but people are still going to talk shit. But still, I think Canelo's going to win more comfortably. It's not going to be like up for debate anymore. Yeah. However, there's still a risk factor because he's a puncher that Triple G can catch you at any time, right? So I think it's still, in a way, high risk, low reward in the way that he has no belt anymore.
You don't see anything going on with the new trainer for Triple G?
What about him?
As far as adding anything?
Jonathan Banks.
You can't add youth, man. I'll tell you that much.
No, but hopefully, I mean, any head movement will help.
Yeah.
Just teach him anything, please. I beg of you.
Yeah, and it's worth noting that the trainer is from Klitschko's camp, too.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised because he's also there. He's tight with Tom. He's like, Jonathan Banks is way tight with Tom.
Well, that's what he said, right? Tom Upper said that was the only option that they have. They didn't look for another one.
One thing I would say is that I don't agree that it's low reward. It's probably the highest reward that either of them can get is each other. Meaning,
not
like money-wise?
He doesn't have the belts, but the biggest payday that those two men will get are fighting each other.
Canelo
He's not going to make more money
anymore.
True.
This is more for Triple G than it would be for Canelo.
Yeah.
Which I do think Triple G deserves another nice payday because he earned it. I think.
I mean, they both are under contract for hundreds of millions of dollars, so like it doesn't. I suppose it doesn't matter either way. Yeah. But they are the most exposure that either fighter will get is fighting each other. It's way bigger to fight Triple G than it is to fight Boo Boo Andrade.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and that's
right. Like
and that's high risk.
Yeah.
That's more high risk.
Yeah. So I actually kind of think it's the other way around. Like you fight Andrade, there's not a lot of reward in Canelo beating Andrade. Right. Like
you get the belt.
You do get the belt, but I mean, Brian Kenny already thinks you're the only champion in the division.
No, but Demetrius Andrade, dude, he's gonna get demolished by Canelo probably like in 2 rounds, dude. He's not that good. He's not. Have you seen him?
Sounding like Gio.
No, have you seen him fight?
Now you're sounding like Gio.
I'm not. Don't associate me with that comment, dude. I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
Canelo's gonna demolish Andrade.
That's like Giannis Antetokounmpo.
All right, so I'll use Gio's logic. Who has Andrade fought in his resume? Can you look that up, Christian?
You know what? True, but I think his fight versus Billy Joe was gonna be a really good one because they're both like
supposedly that was
supposed to happen. But I was looking forward to
And I
it.
was
They're
like-
both tactical. I was like,
okay.
ooh, chess match.
And I was actually
That's
gonna
not
have,
a good point because who has he been knocked out against him? Too?
Well, Billy
Like,
Joe is also favored in that.
Yeah.
in that
Yes,
fight.
that's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say. I would have picked Billy Joe Saunders.
Well,
over
how many
Andrade.
times has Andrade been down? Either
Don't
way?
get me wrong. I think. I don't know why I said don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna say.
Because you're
anything.
wrong.
I favor Billy Joe over Canelo. So I'm glad. Like, in a way.
Hey, look up Billy Joe's box record.
In a way, though, because he's
No,
he was
stop.
the one that can make Canelo
Stop
look
it.
even more dumb.
Stop it.
You just did you guys see the interview where Max Kellerman said that Kawhi Leonard was more
Oh,
clutch
yeah.
than
Yes.
that was the same reaction.
about to
That-
walk
He
away.
would no. Okay, let me rephrase that.
Type in,
He would-
type
he
into
would-
YouTube. Type into YouTube.
He would-
Canelo against Erislandy Lara or Canelo against
He
Austin
would
Trout.
give. He
and
would
then,
give.
Erislandy
Billy
Lara
Joe
won.
would have given Canelo the most problems out of the division.
Oh, yeah.
He moved up now, but Billy Joe would have given Canelo the most problems. He maybe would eventually have stopped him and adapted because we've seen Canelo has been doing well at adapting.
Probably, but he's not favored.
But he would give him the most problems.
I actually think he would give Triple G more problems than he gives Canelo.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, because
So, like,
Triple G's just come forward.
Triple
Come forward.
G Triple
Pressure
G
fighter.
gives Canelo the most problems in the sense that like he won the first fight,
Yeah.
right? So like you can look at it and say, okay, Triple G gives Canelo some problems. He gives him fits in certain spurts.
Yeah.
And I actually think Billy Joe has something that would kind of give Triple G fits.
But
He-
he's not
he'd
a
be
middleweight
he-
anymore,
he
so
would
why
be
are
a
we
problem
talking
for-
about it?
he would be a problem. Well,
Right.
Canelo is also a 168-pound champion.
Yeah.
Who do you favor between
Oh,
Billy
that's
Joe?
true.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I
It
forgot
can
about
happen.
that.
Between
He's
forgot about that.
everywhere.
Billy
all
Joe
over the
and
place.
who's that, Chris?
Billy Joe versus Jacobs.
Billy Joe.
Billy
I
Joe.
think.
Right, Billy Joe.
Yeah.
Damn, all the
I
you
think
guys
so.
don't give Jacobs no props on this show.
I've given him
Well, you guys try to argue against me, Mac?
No.
He's gonna walk away.
Yeah, I would favor I would favor Billy Joe in that matchup. Yeah.
Yeah.
What who would you guys favor in that one?
Billy Joe.
Yeah.
Billy Joe. Yeah.
I wouldn't favor Jacobs over many top people.
I don't like Billy Joe.
Me neither.
Yeah,
Why
he's,
is this?
he's,
I don't
yeah,
handle
he-
that.
he's
He's
not
a
likable.
fucking
I don't like him.
asshole.
He's not likable
He's a
outside of the
fucking-
ring. But
Did you see that video where he's like offering drugs to this lady
Yeah.
and like making her
We
do
talked-
stuff? What a dick.
We
I
actually
was
took
like,
time for
bro,
that. We actually
that's
talked
degrading.
about that. I thought it was worth noting talking about that.
That is so fucked
We
up.
actually
Like
show footage
there's
of that.
there's
Yeah.
like
I think that was,
levels
like,
to
our
being a
second
piece of
episode.
shit, and I think he's like way up
Yes.
here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's levels to this shit. He's up here. Like that's fucked up. And then what else has he done? I don't know. He's done a bunch of weird shit.
He's actually
he
got
just
caught.
did
with-
tested positive.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
PEDs.
For nasal spray.
Yes,
That's what he says.
supposedly. Damn.
I just
Yeah.
love how like the ones that are the ones like making accusations are the ones that get like caught. It
Joe
never
Miller.
Right?
fails. It never
Yeah.
fails. Like, bro, just shut up. Like, just don't
The next
say
one that
anything.
accuses.
I think Chris
will
is
be on
recovered finally. You're
The one-
recovered from
I
the
know.
you know
Shock.
from having
Oh yeah.
Gonna throw his water bottle across the room. What
Yeah.
else did you mention in that paper?
Oh, Miguel Burcho versus,
Oh.
versus
Oh,
Vargas.
Burchell.
That's
Yeah.
putazos right there. That's
Yeah.
like those. And I just love because
Concussions
Vargas
left
swells
and
up.
right.
Like he looks like he got hit by like swarm of bees. He always swells up.
Yeah.
Vargas.
Yeah.
Vargas.
My favorite Vargas fight was against Miura.
Oh heck yeah!
Yeah, remember that
Ooh,
shit?
That one stole the show.
Ooh.
That was
Undercard of
Cotto.
Canelo Cotto.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was
Bro.
after we were falling asleep with Guillermo Ringando.
Oh, that's fucked.
Yeah.
True.
No, that was
Man,
a
that was a
beautiful
Badass fight.
Oh my
The
goodness.
way like Miura basically like did the worm on like the canvas,
Yeah.
trying to get up. That shit's like will forever stay in my mind.
Have
Dude,
you
it-
ever seen the highlights on Chavez Senior? He was
No.
doing the commentating for that.
Oh
fight.
no, I need to look
You
it
gotta
up.
watch
I need to
it.
look it
It's-
up.
Man, it's
Because I watched
powerful.
it in English. That one. I'm pretty
Dude, that was just like cultures right there in the ring because it's like
Yeah.
the proud like
I was watching that fight at the
Japanese
movie theater.
spirit and then the
you
Mex-
every
oh
time
my
you say
God.
that, I was watching that fight at the movie theater.
was
Every
up,
fight, I didn't even
dude.
know they showed my fights at the movie
he-
theater to like Canelo Triple
He
G.
pays rent there to the movie theater.
He gets a boxing pass.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
He got the yearly pass instead of the
3
zone, he
fights a
buys
year.
he gets
Three
a
fights a
movie,
year.
the boxing movie pass.
Yeah.
Ya tienen su almohada y todo. right
Yeah,
there already.
tiene su assigned seat.
No,
like
but it's
this
true
one
though
right here.
because when Guillermo Ringando was fighting, some guy was asleep like 5 seats. Yeah.
Yeah.
So real quick, going back to that, Juan Manuel Marquez said that Canelo lost.
Oh.
115, 113.
Dude, Marquez has always hated Canelo.
Player
That's not
hater.
even news. That's like old,
Yeah.
old
What,
shit.
did you hear that? What do you think about
Yeah, I did. I try not to say anything bad because he's like my.
I know he's my idol.
He's like my he's like
Marquez is my fucking idol.
In terms of fighters, like to me, the most entertaining people to watch, Juan Manuel Marquez is right up there.
His combinations, his timing.
Yeah, I think he's like a great combination of just all the things that are great about boxing, like in terms of footwork, timing. But in some cases, he's a counter puncher, but also can be like an offensive dynamo.
He's an
where you're like
aggressive
watching a guy
counterpuncher.
throw like 7 and 8 punches in succession and land many of them, like 5 and 6. I mean,
You know what, dude? I was never the
love watching
biggest
Marquez.
fan of his.
Really?
Like
Oh,
when people
man.
rate him so high, I'm like,
know
I'll
why.
still put like Eric Morales
I was
over
the same,
him.
Yeah.
You know, the thing that's funny is it's not like he was the best at any point in time. He's just great to watch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like every fight he's in is just great to watch, right? And I think that if you like study Juan Manuel Marquez, you can learn such. Like you look at that first fight with Pacquiao where he's like floored 3 times.
Yeah, 3 times.
And then a
Thank God there
judge
was
gives
no
him
3 knockdown rule.
Right.
And then a judge gives him 10 rounds. He got floored 3 times in the first round.
He technically lost that fight, too.
He technically
'Cause-
lost,
Yeah,
but
'cause
he
10 to
won
8.
at least 8
Yeah,
rounds.
'cause
No,
10
like,
like
No, like he
At
really
least.
lost because one guy did a mathematical error. He
Error.
scored it 10-7 instead of 10-6 in that first round.
Sure, but what I mean is,
No, I know.
if you look at the rounds,
I'm just putting
he won,
facts for the
he won
people,
like 9
you know?
rounds, right? Like
Oh, yeah.
so
He
like
came
he
back.
loses that first round, but he's I don't know, he's
Comes back
just.
storming, yeah.
I think that moment where he finally scored the knockout was like one of my moments of elation.
I
don't
know,
explode.
seriously.
I don't explode for a lot of moments, but that was one where I was
Yeah.
I was up, man.
I thought Pacquiao died.
No, I didn't.
Dude,
I didn't think he died. I
it
just think he was
sucked
out.
seeing Jinky like,
Yeah,
like
that
Jinky
shit was
was freaked,
sad.
and
That
then
was
she fucking
sad.
ran. I'm like, oh my
Dude.
god.
That's
We were
probably
watching
the-
this fight, and obviously we're Mexican, but we always love Pacquiao.
Yeah.
So when it happened, we're all like just quiet. Like none of us cheer. We were just
Yeah.
like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah,
All of us were just like,
I'm a Pacquiao fan. Like no, I'm a Pacquiao fan. I
Me
will
too.
not. No, yeah,
I'm backing you up on that.
no, yeah, and I like Marquez, but I'm not like I wasn't a huge fan. I was a huge fan of Pacquiao, so I was like, fuck. And I was watching it with my family.
they
Everybody's
were all
all happy,
frowning on you.
and
They're
I'm
all
just like,
frowning on you. You're like that SpongeBob meme where he's at the table with the conflict.
yeah.
I couldn't. see-
Mijo, ¿por qué no estás celebrando?
I could never.
I saw it coming.
I don't know if he's alive. That's why.
No, that was probably the.
Ya, güey, por favor.
I've only been sad like one other time in boxing, and that was one of
You
them.
were sad
after,
for that? Oh,
yeah,
man.
after watching his wife, I was
Yeah.
just like, that shit
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah, his wife
That
was freaking
sad.
out. I mean, I thought he was dead too. It took him for, he's not getting up, Jim.
It's true.
It took him forever to
true.
get
All
up.
the memes,
He's
man.
not getting
All
up,
those
Jim. That's
memes.
like my Twitter bio. He's not getting up.
But
Stacking up, Jim.
He's not getting
No,
up, Jim.
it's one of the reasons I can never really jump on the Pacquiao bandwagon. It's not that I understand he's marvelous, right? He's an excellent fighter and he's always highly entertaining. But when you are a supporter of Juan Manuel Marquez, it's hard to jump on,
Yeah.
because like you look at it and there's so much history between those guys that it's like, but yeah, Juan Manuel Marquez is like where it's at for me. In fact, I couldn't stand Floyd Mayweather. Like for a very long time, even like up till he beat Oscar De La Hoya and all that stuff, I absolutely had a tremendous distaste for even watching Floyd Mayweather fights.
You know what
And
I
then
tell
he beat
people?
Juan Manuel Marquez.
You know what I tell people? Like a lot of people
That
have this
fight
taste
was-
with Floyd Mayweather, right?
Yeah.
I always tell them, have you ever boxed before?
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's true. But the
That
thing
was
is,
the biggest. That was the biggest finesse in boxing history,
Oh, yeah.
dude.
Yeah, the thing is,
Marquez was fighting at 130. He fought one fight at 135. Then Floyd's like catch weight at what was it, 144 or
Yeah.
something?
144.
But
And he didn't even make weight for that.
He didn't.
So he,
He
just
didn't.
paid him off.
Yeah.
Fight.
That's true.
Boom,
But
fucking-
but
Obviously, you're gonna win.
Juan Manuel Marquez, regardless, is a formidable opponent, and it's and I had such a tremendous amount of respect for Juan Manuel Marquez that when I saw the way that Floyd Mayweather beat him, it was just kind of like at a certain point it just becomes undeniable.
Yeah.
Right.
Like it
he's-
happened right now with Canelo.
Yeah,
kind
like
of.
he's doing things that are that like there's literally a clip where Juan Manuel Marquez throws a punch
He
and
goes
Floyd Mayweather lands a counter punch and like comes up facing his back.
Yeah.
Like it's like okay, that's like what are you gonna say about that?
Yeah.
You literally are so the craft, and it's not because he's super lightning fast. It's all like timing,
Yeah.
right?
Also,
it's like
I think,
perfect
like
timing.
people hate him, like especially like the Mexicans, Latinos, because of his style, right? Just his style, but also because he made a fucking career of fighting Mexican fighters on our holidays and beating them motherfucker up, like making them look stupid on our holidays.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Now it's the other way
like
now.
I was more
No,
mad.
yeah.
I was more mad when he would be like the Mexicans, like Victor Ortiz and Robert Guerrero.
Dude.
Like, why are you fighting on Cinco de Mayo against
I was-
Mexicans? We're
I
not even
was-
watching that fight.
I
like-
went to Floyd Mayweather versus Victor Ortiz, right?
did you?
And I was one of the very few people who was cheering for Floyd
Ortiz?
Mayweather
Oh, really?
in there. Yeah, for
Oh
Floyd
God.
Mayweather.
Oh God.
And oh man, I was tagged with a beer at the end of that fight. Absolutely
I
tagged.
saw it.
Just like from behind, full cup of beer in the back of my head, all over me.
That's
All over me.
funny.
And then my wife was like, "We've got to go." And I was like, "Yeah."
That's funny.
That's our cue to leave.
Yeah, for us it was when we were cheering on Maravilla Martinez in Las Vegas against
Against who?
Julio
Chavez.
Cesar
Chavez.
Chavez
Oh, I
Jr.
was
Oh
there
yeah,
too.
fuck
And we
yeah.
were like,
I was there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
No,
there.
dude, and they're from Sinaloa, so they'll fucking cut you.
oh yeah, we were surrounded. We were
They
like,
will cut you.
and
Yeah.
Alexis is a pretty quiet guy, but that day he was hella loud. Like,
What you guys drink?
what didn't we drink? And like
That's
when
a shorter list.
yeah, and we were screaming when Martinez got dropped, and he was getting. We're like, come on, like just survive.
Yeah.
And like
I'll
everybody was all like,
I'll tell you
around us.
something interesting about that fight. It's the first time I ever heard people boo each other's national anthem. So meaning
Oh, that's so
where like they're doing the
disrespectful.
national
yeah.
anthems.
Yeah, I've
and
never seen a soccer game before.
yeah, no, I haven't.
Yeah,
I have
that
not.
may okay, yeah.
But
Yeah.
but
Not
yeah,
a stranger
when
comes.
they were doing each other's national anthems, their respective fan bases were booing, and that was
So
like I remember being in
disrespectful.
the arena like I don't know if I should be cheering for Sergio Martinez.
That's
Oh, I've seen fights during the national anthem. Go to the soccer games at the Coliseum.
yeah,
Mexico against Argentina.
I've never been.
They fight during the national anthem.
I have not
Get
been to
kicked
a
out
soccer
before the
game.
fucking soccer match even starts.
yeah, we gotta take Sean to the soccer game then.
Yeah, I've never been.
Yeah, shout out to Liverpool, man. Shout out to all people from the UK. We love Billy Joe Saunders and Luke Campbell.
And Fury.
Fury.
We love you all. Do you guys want to talk a little bit about your podcast? Because
I have a
Beat the
podcast.
Count. You're like what, 60 episodes in, about there, 50?
55, I think. 55. We do one a week on Sundays.
Live.
Normally when there's not technical difficulties. But the thing that's interesting is originally we did it on Sundays because all the big fights were on Saturday.
Yeah.
So we would watch the big fights on Saturday, and then on Sunday we would talk about it. Now there's fights like every day of the week, so it's like half the time. Yeah, half the time my show is on during some fights and like on Top Rank and stuff. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So we do Wednesdays, so we're kind of
Yeah, so you guys are
we're kind of
solid.
late, but I think it's all right.
I remember when
Less
you guys
arguments,
when I
'cause-
when I met you guys and you said it's on Wednesdays, and I was like, really, mine's on Sunday. Like, so you get to talk about. Now I'm like, I wish I did this on Wednesdays because like, there's boxing on Sunday and boxing on Thursday and
Thursday
through
every
Sunday,
damn
like-
day of the week. Yeah, like so hard to keep up with all that mess.
Yeah, where can people follow you?
They can follow me on Instagram at Beat the Count. They can follow me on Facebook at Beat the Count, and the show airs live on YouTube, Sweet Science Boxing Gym YouTube channel.
Yeah.
We do it live from Sweet Science Boxing Gym in Hawthorne, California.
Yes, sir. It's a real gym, guys.
It is. It's a real gym. That's not a backdrop.
Yeah, let's beat the count, man. Make sure to check out the podcast.
It's not a green screen.
Someone asked him that, right?
Yeah.
So, someone
Really?
asked him.
We were
Yeah.
on there.
Is it a green screen?
They came on the show and they were like, "Is that a real gym or is that a backdrop?"
Yeah, because
It's
I
a
had told
gym. It's an actual gym.
I had told one of my friends, "Oh, we're gonna go do like a boxing podcast." So when he saw, it, he's like, "Wait, is that real?"
Yes,
That was
it's a real
funny.
gym. I trained there
Um,
for a number of years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What weight class? I'm just kidding.
135.
Ooh.
135.
Yeah,
Lomachenko.
yeah, 135. But if I was doing it like professionally, I'm
Oh, yeah.
sure I would hydrate down to
Hell yeah.
something in like the 22
Yeah,
range.
Get that weight advantage.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's what
Get
I
that
would do.
Canelo and
Hell
Jacobs
yeah.
advantage.
Hell yeah.
Follow them footsteps.
But you have a lot of guests on your show, right? You had us once.
That was,
Those are the
that
ones
was-
you highlight? Really?
That was a lot of guests. That was a lot of guests all at the same time.
That's what you highlight?
Duh, we were guests.
Fuck the real fighters. You had us.
Jojo Diaz.
Jesse
Look up on Sweet Science. What is it?
Sweet Science Boxing Gym.
Yeah, just
YouTube
look up the
channel.
Against the Ropes episode.
Yeah, the Against the Ropes episode. But we've been very fortunate. Yeah, so I've had a lot of a really cool guests. I've had Danny Roman, who's obviously the unified super bantamweight world champion.
Who doesn't watch boxing?
Yeah, who does not watch boxing.
Yeah.
Jesse Vargas, who's a former 2-weight division world champion, going on 3-weight division world champion, if he can get the fight that he wants. I've had a ton of amateur standouts, national amateur champions, people who are bound for the Olympics. You know, so I like getting them in there too. And so it's Jojo Diaz, like you said, was recently on, which is why I didn't criticize Jojo when we were talking about it earlier.
You don't have to say that.
No, man, I build a bond. It's like a
Not
rapport, like I have with you guys.
Aw,
you know what I
that's
mean?
Cute.
I know, but
I
it
can't say
sucks,
bad things about you.
though. But it
built
sucks
up-
because when they lose, it hurts.
That's what I was gonna say. You
breaks
build the
my
bond so they get knocked out, right?
Yeah.
Hurts, man.
It's sad.
Yeah.
Shit
Actually,
hurts.
like you mentioned, Nico Macias. Nico was probably the guest on our 15th episode. A really pleasant dude. Actually, one of the most enjoyable men I've had an opportunity
He's
to be
so
around
nice,
as part of doing this. And when he lost to Soto, you know, it kind of wasn't. It hurt.
And
a
then he
little
lost again.
bit. And then he lost again.
He lost again.
Yeah,
and
he
I'm
did.
like, oh, fuck.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Rooster.
No, I'm just kidding.
Lumps that again.
Rub it in.
Like Rooster.
Yeah, and you also
Yeah.
joined us at the commentary table.
Yeah.
I did.
Sometime last year, at the end of last year.
Yeah, I think
Right.
it was like in November.
Yeah,
that
that's
was
right.
that was
December.
December, was it?
December.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So here's a fun fact about me. In high school, you know how they make you do the projects, like what do you want to be when
Yeah.
you grow
Yeah.
up? Did I tell you guys this?
No, you
No,
didn't.
you didn't.
Oh, okay. So mine was a sportscaster.
No.
Hey.
So and I did the project, but obviously I was like I wanted to be like Chick Hearn. I wanted to do it for the Lakers and stuff.
Okay.
But so you guys in a way helped me live a childhood dream of mine.
Hey, there you go.
Make
Aw.
a wish foundation.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
exactly.
God.
June
You guys-
8th is the
you guys
next
are right.
day. I think it's at the Quiet Cannon, right?
Mhm.
So, yeah.
No, commerce.
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 Yeah, commerce.
Oh, nice.
Hey.
Okay. So if you come out,
Yeah.
hey, we
try.
might
I might hit
make
the
that
table
dream
again.
come true again.
All right.
Make it a reoccurring dream.
Because it was at the commerce that you did that one too, huh?
Yeah, it
In
was.
December.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deja.
Yeah, exactly.
We had Leo Santa Cruz that day, too.
Yeah, I was gonna go on
All-stars.
another time, and then for some reason you guys put on Jaime Munguia instead, and I was like, "What the hell is that?" all about?" I was like, "You had me or Jaime, and you
Right.
picked Jaime. Like I thought we were friends."
I saw you glance.
Not like that.
I saw you glance at him, and he glanced back, and I didn't see you look again.
Oh man,
Sean, in my defense, I was doing camera work that day.
you were
so I
doing
had
camera
nothing-
work that day. You weren't even at the table. I was like,
I
"Oh,
was-
this is a sure thing," and then Munguia stepped up, and I was like, "Damn."
Missed my chance.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we got you,
Yeah,
man.
and I think was that the first time Jim and
Hype man.
Hype Man had got into it.
Uncle Jim and Hype Man. That's my favorite fight every time. Who's fighting over the mic? You gotta love that song though. That jam. That he
Oh,
comes
yeah.
out, whoop that ass. You guys know that one, right? Dude.
Yeah.
So who
can't
you
do
got in the
justice.
trilogy?
In the trilogy, which between Jim and Hype Man.
Yeah.
You
Because
know,
what number one went to Hype Man, number two Jim. Jim won it, you know.
Decisively.
Decisively.
It was
Yeah.
competitive.
It
but-
Oh, my God, you guys.
You know, I gotta take Uncle Jim,
Oh,
especially
yeah.
if I'm there. You know.
You don't think age
That's
is
a-
a factor?
Well, Uncle Jim hasn't been in wars, so
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, I
man.
used to see that cat a lot. Not
Oh, yeah?
obviously Uncle Jim I see all the time, but the other dude. I used to see the Hype Man like all over at every event, and then there was like a period of time where he
The
kinda
hype
just
went down.
disappeared. Yeah, and now
Hype
I'm
went down.
seeing
It's getting
return
banned,
again.
huh?
I don't know.
Little by little. Yeah, but that's beat the count. Make sure to follow Sean. Lily,
Yeah,
do you
follow
want-
me.
Lily, you want to talk about you started your podcast,
Yeah,
since, right?
well, mostly I just do writing. Like, I focus mostly on writing post-fight or, pre-fight articles. But I'm like, I'm going to do, like, a little, because people were, I don't want to sound like crazy, but people were asking me, like, you should do, like, predictions. Because I don't like doing video because it makes me more uncomfortable talking to a camera and seeing myself while editing than just my voice. Like, it's weird. So I'm like, I'll do the podcast. And I didn't think it would be, like, actually not like it's not like fucking beat the count, but like I'm like, oh my God, people are actually people like give me.
wow.
Someone just replied, he's like your audio on this, because I use my actual microphone for like that I do interviews with. Someone's like, oh, your audio is much
sounded
better
good.
on this
It
one.
sounded good.
And I'm like, you guys actually listen to my shit to notice the difference. I was like, oh, cool. And like people do give me like questions, like they'll be like, oh, what's your prediction on this, or what's this on that. And I think I'm more popular on Twitter, even though I have less followers. On Twitter, I only have like 400 followers. I used to have 3,000, but my account got deleted for calling a white person corny. But now I
Did
made
you get busted for that? Now?
yeah. So I made another one, and I'm like, I have almost 500, but like I have so much engagement. On Instagram is different, but because I think I forget about Instagram. Like I'm so busy with school that Instagram you have to put more effort than Twitter.
Yeah.
I just want to say this because I was watching your live. When
Oh yeah. Oh, you were on the commentary.
No, but what was so funny was that because I always get the same reaction I'm like, hey, what's your thoughts on Al Heyman? Oh, I don't want, like, you had that distance. Like, I don't want to talk about that.
I don't, because honestly, in all honesty,
boogeyman.
I didn't react that way when you.
I
You
don't
were
really
ready.
care about, like, I'm not one to talk promotional companies. Or,
You did.
Or
You
manager.
sure did, though.
But,
You actually spoke too much.
but, like, when it comes to, like, Bob Arum and Al Heyman and all, I don't care about shit like that. Like, I'm
Same
not one
here.
to, like, be, I don't,
It's like a whole
same-
different ballgame.
Same
It's
with,
like,
like,
you kinda have to.
contracts, and people are like, contracts.
But we don't know shit at the end of the day. They only tell you what you want to hear.
The thing is, like, you kind of have to, especially when it's, like, these type of fights that are not being made because of these things.
Yeah.
But other than that, to be like, oh, fuck Al Heyman, he's a, like,
Yeah, it's
cancer of boxing. And other people are saying,
Yeah.
oh, Bob Arum smokes too much fucking weed, and that's why he's acting all crazy.
I think we follow the same Facebook pages.
You know? It's like, I don't care. Like, I don't feel like, I guess I don't feel comfortable enough to be saying stuff that like you said, we don't know
We don't
shit.
know
I
about
don't,
shit, man.
I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So why am I gonna?
No, but I think that is the problem. If you don't want to talk about it, then they're going to, the status quo is still going to be the same
The
thing.
thing is, like,
They're not gonna tell you anything.
I'm doing.
But you don't know
course.
what's going to happen
Yeah,
in a fight
yeah.
either, but you
I
still
know.
talk about
You
it.
still talk about it.
But
we
you
have to
can
talk
make.
I say you don't know what's going to happen in a boxing match
Yeah.
either, but you still talk about it.
Yeah, but we're watching the actual fight. We're not watching these men who don't fight.
No, I just think because, like, it's a sport that is run by Al Heyman.
Yeah.
And that guy has never said a single.
Like I
Damn
said, I
word.
wish his fighters were more active. Were more,
they're
you know,
actually-
Yeah.
fought
Yeah.
frequently.
I think that they're in some cases they're active. They're just not fighting the people we want to see them fight.
Like Leo.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, Chris just likes to. You want to check the powers that be, right?
Mhm.
A little bit of checks and balances.
Well,
stuff.
yeah. So we're going to have our website running up, and I'm actually writing an article.
Nice.
Don't laugh. But it's, no, but this is true. It's called.
Don't include my name, please.
Well,
You're already
It's
there.
going to be on the website. So
I'm gonna start the
Don't
show with
worry.
every disclaimer. That was not me who's writing this shit.
Yeah. So the title of this article is called "I like to thank God and Al Heyman."
That's
You
not
like
a
to
bad
what?
title actually.
Yeah, because
Who
if you
says
look,
that?
hey, you're quoting
everybody
somebody. I
says
said
everybody says it. Yeah. If you.
Oh,
if you-
Pacquiao said
Oh,
that.
Pacquiao
yeah.
Pacquiao said that.
I think that's not a bad title at all. Yeah, it's intriguing.
That's a good one, yeah.
I'll read it.
Al Heyman. Should be the other way around.
I don't think I could do the writing thing. I'd like to try it sometime.
I feel like it's easier than anything else because if I'm doing a live or I'm doing a podcast, even then I feel sometimes I'm like, I'm too lazy to cut that out, whatever.
Because you were
Yeah.
doing it on the Friday one, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
But when it's written, you have so much time to gather your thoughts. You have time to make something make sense.
Yeah.
And sometimes it might sound, well, the way you think about it in your head and the way you're vocally expressing it, totally different. So that's why I'm like, and I don't know. That's just, I'm a journalism major, so that's what I've been used to.
Yeah.
But I do like interviews and stuff. That's cool, but not like the whole podcasting. I don't know. It's cool, but like I said, I feel stupid just being there by myself.
But
I
then
do,
you're here. You're like, oh, okay. I see.
but
what I'm
because
doing
I
by
have,
myself.
here's like someone to argue with, someone that's gonna have opposing views, and that they might teach you something, or they might just make you angry. You know, like that. But it's engagement with others. You know, I'm pretty sure it's cool too for the listeners to hear different voices, different
Yeah.
opinions in one podcast, and just be listening to someone. I guess in a way it's like cool, especially because I add like clips of my interviews. But at the same time, like, I could just go on YouTube and see it.
I have a hard time doing the interview thing because I feel like whatever interview I do and post, there will be 10 other outlets who basically did the same exact interview and posted it. Not only that, but they did it on the same day at the same place. So like I'll be posted like, we're here at the weigh-in.
That's why-
this
that's
guy,
why-
same fucking five
That's
questions.
why I never post. I don't do conferences. I don't do roundups much.
Yeah.
If that's why I like go to gyms. Like I go to Legends. I
Yeah.
used to go to like what's the one by La Brea Avenue? I don't know. I go to all these gyms to like see if they'll give me an interview. Like I went to the Robert Garcia gym. They were nice about it. I do these things because it's like more calm. You can ask them questions. They're less agitated.
Yeah.
But when it's like a media thing, I don't usually like to even record those or upload them. I might go live, but I don't because like you said,
The same.
everyone has that. Everybody has the same answers, and the only people that are gonna get the views are the top channels that usually get this. So it's not that big. Like I'm not big on that
But
either.
it's usually the same questions though that people have asked.
Yeah,
that's
that's
the
it, yeah.
that if you can find the difference between that's what separates you from the other channels.
Yeah, I think it's challenging, but I've done whole interviews that I just never posted. where I've gone to events and different things and been like, oh, okay, and I recorded an interview with, you know, this person, that person, and then I don't post it because at the end of the day, I'm like, it's just
there's a number of times when I'm looking at interviews, I'm just throwing the damn bottle because it's just the same question. I'm like, ask that question that, you know, like people have questions, and it's usually the people who are more informed. I mean, sometimes I feel like, not you, Lily, but just other people, like some people are just not credible to ask questions. And sometimes I question whether they had journalism backgrounds or something like that. That's why. So I think that's one of the things between me, Chris, and Gio is that, you know, we didn't. Wasn't our, not our dream, but like we have backups. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. So if something falls short, this right here, I mean, I have salary, so it's like I'm not gonna be like shitting brakes or anything like that, right? So I can talk as much shit as I can because I have my salary on my bank. So. I think that's what I see in people, that people are scared not to speak, not just on Al Heyman, but on other true stuff that we want to find out.
Let me tell you something, though, like I was talking about in the live. That's why I might not do boxing journalism as a career, because I noticed that it's not journalism. It's mostly PR. Yes. You have to, pure blogging. They have to like you. The promoters have to like you. They have to see that you're doing, unless you're with a major TV outlet like Steve Kim. Steve Kim talks a lot of shit, but he backs it up, and he has like now he's on ESPN. What are they going to do to him? Yeah. Maybe they might ban him as like a specific person not to cover that specific fight, but not everyone's going to ban him, because again, it all comes to how you talk about certain fighters. It's boxing media, especially the non-TV networks, is mostly PR. Mm-hmm. It's all PR. You have to you know, gas them up. Yeah. And it's not something that I was used to, because me and you were from school. We're doing this journalism shit, and then you go into this field that it's not it's not really journalism. It's PR. Because and you're like, it's like, it kind of made me like, meh. I'll just be a fan, like you said. I'll just be a fan and like be more opinionated and be a fan than, because I can, like you said, I don't have a salary. I'm barely gonna graduate, but I feel like I have other stuff that I'm really good at, and I could do journalism for anything and still love the sport and still make a podcast, like a fan podcast or whatever. And I'm friends with fighters and I'm friends with trainers, so I could just get the occasional interview. But I don't want to have to depend on it when I just realized it's not what it is. It's PR. It's definitely PR.
Yeah, because PR is what, like Alfonso Gomez said, you have to learn how to kind of play the game in the boxing industry, because it's run by politics. It's a business, money, you know, so obviously you have to pick your battles, and you can't overstep, because they're the ones that decide who gets the press passes in.
Yeah, they decide if they like you or not. And it's like, it's cool. I mean, I don't have anything against any fighter, or like I don't talk shit against any fighter, but it's just like something different than what we're like doing in school, or like thinking about what journalism really is, and it's really not. So, but I enjoy it. I mean, who doesn't enjoy going to fights and writing about it? Like, it's pretty great.
All right, it was nice having you guys. Do you guys have any last words? I think we've been
last
like
words.
What's
happening here?
An hour and a half.
Are we done?
I think so. It's kind of. I'm trying to leave.
Last words.
I misunderstood what happens at the end of your shows.
You don't have any last words.
You guys leave and we continue.
Oh my god.
Yeah, any last stuff before we sign out?
I just want to thank the people that donated. So we I don't know, you guys saw our Instagram post. One of our favorite refs, Steve Willis, you know, he had an unfortunate, you know, situation where his house burned down, or his home. And so it was a day that I was off, and I saw this, and I was like, fuck, this shit sucks. Like, what can I do to help? So we started a GoFundMe to help him get some money. Obviously not a whole lot. We can't replace, you know, but we started a GoFundMe to see if we could get some money to help him with his clothes, you know, little basic stuff, little basic, you know, things.
Necessities.
Necessities. And so we started a GoFundMe. At first, like I messaged him first. I was like, hey, I just saw what happened. Okay, do you mind if I start this? And, you know, Willis, he's gonna be like, no, it's fine. I was like, bro, like, you know, I just saw what happened. Do you mind if I, like, it's not gonna be on you, it's on me. Like, and I told him who we were, you know, a podcast. We love boxing. We're great fans of yours. You bring us a lot of joy, you know, in the ring. And so he's all like, no, I don't want to take it, like, you know, advantage of your generosity. I was like, dude, it's not even like that. Like, it's just people helping people. That's it. Yeah. And so he was, I could tell he didn't want to, but I was like, let me just do it, man. Like, it's not on you, it's on me. It's on us. Let me just do it. So we started a little GoFundMe, and we were able to get a couple $100, and we're gonna close it out this week. And I have a friend in New York, because I was gonna send it to him, but he doesn't have like a Venmo or anything. So yeah, we were able to get a couple $100. It's funny because a lot of people were like kind of messaging our Instagram. They were like, "Why do you guys do that? Like, he doesn't need the money. He covers Mayweather fights.
Mind your fucking business."
And stuff like that. So they were saying stuff like that, and I was like, bro.
Yeah, people are always gonna talk, dude.
Yeah, to me, I was like, this boxing industry, like, you might think that people are doing okay, but you really never know. Mm-hmm. All I know is that his place burned down. A couple $100 ain't gonna, won't hurt. Like, he could use it for something, whatever it may be, And so, I got in contact with him, with my friend from New York. He lives in New York, and we're gonna wire him that money, help him out a little bit. So it wasn't a whole lot. It was like something that can help him.
Yeah. So,
like, I just told him, like, hey, we're here. We're all a family. Like, and I know it's not a lot, but you know what? It's, yeah. So shout out to Steve Willis. Cool, He's doing a whole lot better. He does, he was able to get all his stuff situated. He has friends that helped him out, like, have a place to stay. So, yeah, I mean, it was one day that I was like off of work, and I was just there, and I saw that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and so shout out to Steve Willis. He brings us a lot of joy with his facial
mannerisms.
expressions. He's a really good rep.
And not just mannerisms. He's a really good rep.
He's a really good rep.
He's always like ready to step in. Like he's ready. I like him a lot.
So.
Besides his mannerisms, which are fucking amazing.
Yeah. So.
I like that you did that. That's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah. You guys have any shout outs?
Just Navarrete Dog Bay, cool. I'm really excited. We can get to that, but I think Navarrete still takes it. I like Dog Bay's what does it say, Niho thing?
Yeah.
I love how he's at the press conference doing that, and he arrives with his he comes in big. He looks cool as fuck when he comes in. He looks like hell yeah. But I think Navarrete still takes it. But it is still gonna be a good match. I think that's a good card. That's that.
Yeah, I just want Bercho to win so he could fight Lomachenko. And Swift hurt too.
Oh yeah, Swift hurt.
The real Swift.
Any last words before you go?
Any last words?
Before you go?
Thank you guys. I appreciate your having me on.
For sure, man.
I really do. Thank you.
Make sure to follow Beat the Count podcast on YouTube. Make sure to follow Xicana Boxing on every platform, basically, right? And XicanaBoxing.com. And thank you guys for listening.
We out.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you for the support. Keep doing your thing. You're doing a great job. So thank you and best wishes.
Against the Ropes. Huge shout out to Against the Ropes.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you guys for the interview, and hope to see you guys soon.
Against the Ropes, always doing the right thing.
Shout out to Against the Ropes, man. I appreciate you guys for having me, taking the time out y'all day.
Against the Ropes, #1.
Freddie Roach.
Thank you very much.